All right, ready.
Good evening. Thank you for tuning in to a special edition of the Frontline Black News. I'm your host, Che and Kruma. I'm joined with my other host, Lady Che, and we will be discussing the EHS contract that Denver City Council just passed tonight, 11 to 2, with our guests, Tess Doherty and David.
Yeah, we can't say your name, David, but we know you're there.
And we're going to be discussing this contract tonight, and with the implementation of, or the implications of said contract being passed and extended tonight are in regards to our unhoused community.
Don't worry, Black family.
And
These
don't
are
worry, Black family.
our white friendlies.
These are our white friendlies. We have white abolitionists as our hosts. Guests as our guests tonight, and yeah, we're gonna introduce Tess and David.
Yeah,
welcome.
And they're the loudest couple ever.
We're small but mighty.
Yeah. What I wanted to say though, Black family, is that they fucked up today. They didn't let the Black people speak.
No.
Which is us.
Except Ron Thomas.
Well, yeah, I don't even think he counts. I don't think he counts. I'm sorry, I don't think he counts because that guy was stuttering and everything.
Yeah, he was shook. He was
upset.
They were because we brought the truth and they couldn't say shit.
But today was a night of tonight's episode previously on City Council on Monday nights. This was a night of epic plot twists and ended up with the same results of a reluctant yay. Like a reluctant yes.
Yeah.
Meaning they passed something. This is absolutely.
What was it? Amanda says, "You all better get y'all act together,
or else." She got
after though, Cashman established that there was no plan B. Yeah. And so or else what? It's an empty threat, and the performative charades that go on this council and the monologues that are written for us are they're epic. They really are. And we should just make a book of monologues that we can look back to from Robin Kniech and Amanda Sawyer and sometimes Stacy, but hers aren't that epic. And where it's like, when y'all were writing this, the ending, that you're in the end, you're going to do nothing. So why do you write this at all? It's like a waste of time.
Shakespeare and poetry.
It is.
The new Shakespeare, dude.
It's all about money at the end of the day. But there's a lot of money being spent. But it's like, what is a $6 million contract, and they allegedly only used
to October 2023.
Yeah. I was like, damn, they only went through what? Only $1.5 million or something of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yet they're everybody's getting paid extra money. Police are getting paid $50 an hour.
The $50 an hour is their contracted rate, but the real amount that they're getting is because they get paid a minimum of 4 hours per their contract, per their union contract, apparently. But yet they're filed as 1099 contracted workers. So why they're able to still have the protection of the union and bargain in terms of their wages under their union contract is a little curious, because as a contracted employee, I was not under the impression that they could still use their collective bargaining agreement to set their wages, but that's what they're doing. And so they're getting on the Cora that Dave got. We cored them and we were given an invoice. I remember sitting right here where I am right now, and Dave was behind me on the couch and he was like, wait a minute. And he looked at the fucking invoice and he was like, oh my God, they are getting paid a minimum of 4 hours, but they've never even scheduled themselves for a full 4 hours. And I was like, what does that mean? And he was like, that means that they're just pocketing twice as much money as they should be for not doing the work that they're even scheduled, like contracted to do. And Kevin, go ahead.
Money. The police are always asking for money.
Money. And it's like they are moonlighting and they're getting these.
How much more money do you need?
They always need something.
How much more? How much more? They're already paid like $92,000 a year. Yeah. Why? Yeah. And they're paid $92,000 a year. They have their car paid for, their computer paid for, their uniforms, their gas. A teacher doesn't get uniforms or a car, maybe a computer that's like 20 years old, and doesn't get any fucking supplies. So I'm just curious as to why the police are just given this, like, even like a freaking flight attendant. I used to live with a flight attendant. He had to pay for his uniform. It came out of like a yearly thing that, you know, it came out of his like his paycheck. They all had to pay into it. So like even people that you would expect would have uniforms potentially paid for are still paying for it. But the cops, no, we'll just pay them $92,000 a year and pay for every single thing that they might have to have as an expense. And then we'll schedule them out of a crooked, shady profiteering contract that we laid out so clearly. And they are just endorsed fraud.
Isn't that like racketeering or like?
Yeah, it is. Like it's the definition of it, which is illegal.
Right. Yep. Which means that they need to be held accountable for racketeering. That's like breaking the law.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I don't even know how they're doing this.
Right. Exactly. And the mayor. And even that right there is like what, an act of treason or something. Like it's something. If you're enabling the racketeering, aren't you guilty of racketeering too?
Yeah, you're complicit. You're an accomplice. You know, and Evan Dreyer made that. Evan Dreyer confirmed that it is coming from the mayor. Because why was he even up there talking about this contract? Right. You know, what does it have to do with the mayor?
Right.
Like, why was he up there? I mean, I was like, why is Evan talking about the contract? How is the mayor involved in this contract?
You look like a smart little bitch guy today when you wanted to throw the mayor under the bus.
Well, you know, freaking Evan Dreyer is a sad man. He's a sad man. And he runs the sweeps. I mean, imagine if your job was to stand in a cage that is used to dehumanize people and make them feel like animals, and then to just sit around and for half of your work week to just witness the pain and suffering that you are solely responsible for causing. And he just goes to bear witness to that. How sick is that? And we're paying him to do it.
He sleeps good at night. He looks well rested.
They leave behind, they still have the audacity to call these cleanups.
Right. They're not.
I know.
Like at all.
So listen to this. So, okay, I want to pull this up real quick and read this to y'all, because this is, I'm going to send y'all this link to this article. So I've been doing a lot of like research on homeless policies in other places in the world. And I was reading about Athens, and then recently I got this one that's about a city in Switzerland, I think, or Sweden. And they talk about this like term that's called revanchism or revanchism or something. And it's basically like when the government institutes policies that are retaliatory or like to seek revenge for a social movement or for a war that was fought or something, right? So they're literally putting into place these policies, and it says this is talking about, it's called soft policies of exclusion, entrepreneurial strategies of ambience and control of public space in Gothenburg, Sweden. Okay. And so he says in here, this person who studied it, he goes, it will show that the sanitization of public spaces for consumer-friendly purposes applies to Gothenburg just as in U.S. cities, but is achieved, blah, blah, blah. Then he says, the concept of soft policies of exclusions is developed to provide an understanding that of revanchism, but and then he talks about So he says the concept of soft policies of exclusion is about an ambient sensescape in Gothenburg that attracts the flows of the right people and steers away visible poverty and disturbing associated behavior. And then he says in here, hold on, let me do control find and say safety. So he says, so let's see, hold on, let me go to the next one. This is so fascinating, y'all. It's literally, you could replace Gothenburg with Denver and it would be the same thing. He says, they say that often over safety. Let's see here. Sorry, I wish I was more prepared to read about this. It's so interesting. I'll send it to y'all. You have to read it. But let's see. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. So, okay, the Americanization of homelessness. People in other parts of the world are studying how fucked up our policies are related to homelessness, y'all. And so he says that there's a freaking fly in our house that keeps bugging me. Hold on, let me see here. Okay, so it says, as Atkinson has argued, Revonkism can be viewed as a mode of governance and a set of programs to control and secure public space. And it's based on a dystopian image of a downward spiral of urban decline and the economic objectives to secure capital investment. Sound familiar?
Yes.
It says it may be a mode of power that manifests itself through legislation, control, and discipline. Says an important aspect of Revonkist policies is that they are part of urban regeneration strategies, and as such are often legitimized as issues of public safety and security.
Oh, that sounds like the camping ban.
How interesting is this, right? And it says the insistence on commercially attractive public space by politicians and businessmen creates a need to regulate and control the city center. The presence of visible homelessness, street crime, and graffiti are not only viewed as potential threats to the credibility of the image of the city, but are also regarded as symbols of decay and insecurity. Hence, the emergence of various public and private initiatives to clean up city centers. How crazy is this, y'all?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? What?
Oh, we're just shouting out our other co-host that's usually on with us, Shabaka and Corey. So
Nice.
Share, and thank you whoever else is viewing.
Thank you to little eyeballs. We see you. I'm talking about the little eyeballs at the top of the view. That's what I call them because they don't never know who they are till later. The lousy, exactly. Lousy motherfuckers.
They should all be charged with hate crimes and crimes against humanity.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Like let's start with the beginning where there's the active demand for Stacey Gilmore to recuse herself.
Yeah.
That was right there with the ethics thing.
Yeah, so let the people know who Stacey Gilmore is.
Let the people know who Stacey Gilmore is and why we wanted her to recuse herself from this.
Gladly. So Stacey Gilmore is the council president, and her husband Scott Gilmore, SNS. Scott Gilmore is the head of Parks and Recreation. So it came to our awareness in the committee meeting for this EHS contract renewal. It came to our awareness that how we knew about this is because Scott literally admitted it. He says to everybody that he is single-handedly solely responsible for the contract with EHS. Yeah. So then another friend of ours, Christian, who gave public comment during the general public comment, and he's awesome. Yeah. He got on there and he's spoken before about how the way in which Stacey Gilmore restricts and tries to police public comment is actually unconstitutional. Yeah. Well, this time, which is true, and y'all know it too, that it's just you can't, she acts like you can't address them.
Really go to the bottom of the list.
The four of us are always at the bottom of the list.
We're not last.
Two of us.
It's like if we get to you, it's like if you don't magically have some sort of technology problem that takes 5 minutes, which also happens, and they do it on purpose just to keep us from not having time. And then it's like 5:27 every time. I'm like, do you know how to do math? There's 3 more minutes. That's one person gets to go again.
Just cut it off today, 2 minutes shy today too.
It blows my mind. It's like let's cut into your time, Stacy. Let's cut into y'all's time, not the people's time. And so anyway, fuck that shit. But Christian brings forward this time because he's genius, and he's like, this is against the code of ethics. This is a conflict of interest. That she is voting on a contract that her husband has now explained and admitted publicly he's solely responsible for. And the Parks Department also use EHS, which is the company that we were voting on tonight. So there's clear interest for him to maintain the established relationship that he created, and for the department that he's the head of to continue having this contract so that they can do their operations. It's so obvious. So Christian made a complaint. Well, Dave made a complaint to the ethics board. The ethics board had no idea that Stacy, they had no idea about this, this like potential conflict of interest. So then Christian on the other side tells us that he called Stacy's office, and Stacy's staff had nothing. They didn't know anything about it either. So then tonight in the meeting, Stacy claims that there's been a long established agreement or response from the ethics board that she's fine to vote on all these things that are directly involving her immediate family. And yet Christian in the thing read that, like, when your immediate family is involved in these and these and these, he literally read it.
Yeah, it's like a minute and a half about you can't do this.
And it literally was describing Stacy's situation. And so I'm just confused why the ethics board knew nothing about this agreement. Her office staff knew nothing about this agreement. Christian read the thing that literally spells it out, and yet Stacy is totally fine according to the ethics board. Bullshit.
Nothing. I was like,
bullshit.
You're like, the husband is part of now the immediate family.
Yeah.
Like, the way Christian explained it is like, not anybody on your immediate family or right after that, and this and that. I mean, it was like a minute and a half of actual clear dialogue about you should not do this, and you should not do this, and it would be in your best interest to not. You know what I mean? And I was just like,
I was like, fuck yes, Christian, you're amazing.
Not to mention how many times I shared that shit. Right? That little the thing with the face mask. Stacey.
Well, Stacy also, I think that we need to, I'm going to put in the chat as well, the page that you can go to if you would like to file your own ethics complaint about Stacy voting on these things regarding Parks and Recreation, because this is what you said earlier, Brandy. Sorry. Wait, I'm supposed to call you Lady Shay.
They know my name. It's okay.
Okay.
They know my name.
Well, this is racketeering, and this is corruption at its worst, really. This is what you call corruption, and I don't know how nobody else. It's like they've just been able to get away with this shit for too long. When it was only Jesse, and now it's like, no, we're all here now, and we're watching you.
Well, I'll be dismissed if I didn't bring up my pops, Chairman Sekou. He's been giving them hell for the past 15 years. Yeah. I've been giving them hell for the past 5.
Hell yeah for y'all.
And
I'm thankful for y'all.
I was prevented from it like 18, 20 times at least for the city council thing, because before I got housed, it was all good to talk to Brandy. And then when I got housed, it was all weird. And then when I went to the fucking, there were Homeless Out Loud, and was a board member and not a board member, and then this and that. And it became an issue. Okay, so it wasn't, it would have been different because I was everything they wanted to tether me to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tokenize me or whatever.
Yep.
And that's what Thomas is. He's a tether.
Yeah.
Wait,
Thomas is
Ron
a tether.
Thomas.
Commander Ron. I know him as Ron nowadays.
That's a token.
Yeah.
That's the token.
Ron Johnson.
They're tethered.
I was stumbling over his fucking words.
Yeah, Dave's like over here. He's right next to me.
That's because he got caught up. I like when they asked him who's in charge of the storage, and they kept trying to avoid the answer, right?
Oh, he didn't know shit, and if the reality is he probably knew it all, but he was full of shit because he doesn't want anybody to get in trouble. Because we got to take care of Mr. Tony Martinez and fucking Officer Shitbag Lombardi.
Yeah. Like, oh man, they're like a little group right there. Yeah, I was like, oh, so watch him. He don't want to talk about the extra 2.5 hours that everybody's getting paid for the not being there.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah. That one officer when I was at the sweep
because they're stealing.
Yeah, he hit the thing. Yeah, he didn't want to talk about those things.
And let's remind everybody that even $50 an hour to sit in your car is way too fucking much money. Like,
even with the car puffing and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Passing out water. Remember when they were passing out water to each other?
Oh my God.
And we were like, "Where's the water for the unhoused?"
Wait, I don't remember this. Tell me about this. Oh my God, this is sick.
All the time. I remember back in like, well, what are we here? 2021?
Yeah.
18. Okay, 2019. I remember when they came and when shit got rough in the summertime, they decided right before it was 2019 when they swept the XL building, right?
That time I got arrested. That was
a kid, whatever. I had to get arrested, right? They come to sweep the fucking building, right? And I had dropped my tent. I'm playing. I'm holding my ground, right? I dropped my tent, and the one, officer that everybody with the porn mustache, right?
Oh yeah, that's the one we. That's the one. I'm not sure who did it, but he got a pig sandwich the other day.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, the brunette, right, with the big mustache, right? The fucking cowboy-looking porn star, right? Well, when he first came out. He wasn't part of the usual fucking police harassment team, right? They would come out every day and fuck with us, right?
Police harassment team.
I brought my tent and I was in there eating a power bar. I had to reach out. I was just hiding under my tent, right? I refused to go. I was gonna stand my ground, but then he happened to show up. I was like, "What is this training day porn stash?" Right? Who the fuck is you? Like I had never seen you. You're not part of the usual crew. The usual crew. They already know what's up with me. They move along. They turn around and move along.
Now they'll go get a warrant to get you out of your tent now. They don't force you out of your tent. They take them half the day. So I think that more often that, house folks go out there and sit in tents. But the first night of the protest last summer, it was like a freaking war zone over the top of all those tents that were right there. I guarantee you, everything all those folks owned was trash because you have that pepper ball shit all over you. I mean, our shit was trash, and those guys, it was just insane. No regard, absolutely no regard for anybody's stuff.
When they did that, at that time, right, the XL building and shit, I remember clearly that earlier in the afternoon, one of the police officers that I used to think was pretty nice, I always knew he was just gonna fucking arrest me later anyway, but he would come and they came and they brought an emergency bag of food one time. I said, "Oh, finally you're hearing me, right? When you come sweep the police, you should bring water, some sleeping bags, something like you come sweeping, try to be helpful, since you're doing our trash, you're trashing our shit, you're sweeping us, like trash. Can you be helpful? Can I get a replacement right now? Can you be of service?
Now they say we can't touch anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Now they're like they're dangerous. We're scared.
It's ridiculous. Like we have a friend who literally asked them to help her move her bag because she's in a wheelchair, and she asked them to help her move her bag, and they were like, "I'm sorry, I can't help you," and they wouldn't even help her lift her bag onto her lap, and so she had to leave all of her stuff.
Known for that. When they swept me off the Samaritan house that first time when I got
Samaritan.
Post, when I did the interview with the Denver Post and Denver almost all out for the first time, I wouldn't leave, right? So they had to move me themselves. I made it so difficult. They had to move, and there's pictures of them. I didn't have no shoes. I had all my Muslim stuff on, and I was like crying and shit because I just watched them tear down my shit, take my car. Like, we're gonna put it in storage. I said, what storage? I said, there is no storage. Stop making it up. And even if you did make it up, it's run by you.
It's run by you. It is
It's
a fear of arrest.
Police, right? And anybody who has a warrant or anything like that already knows that shit is gone. Don't even put it in storage.
You have to go by the tail in order to pick up your stuff.
They didn't know who it was, right? But if you ask the homeless people,
oh yeah, because it's at 14th and
the number one question there, the number one answer is, who runs the storage unit? Ask any homeless person, homeless person right now. They'll say the police. Mm-hmm. But if you ask that city council, who's in there operating the storage?
Who's doing it?
We don't know. EHS, and Dottie, and Cashman said, well, whose bodies are in there, or something like that.
Yeah, what human bodies
in there? And then
it's like sometimes there's nobody, because Katie got up there and literally told them that in the last few weeks we have gone by there ourselves and we have seen just to see if they were even there during their scheduled hours that they're supposed to be there, and they weren't. So it's like, what more evidence do you need? It's like, here's the thing that really gets me. Rivero Stinnett was beaten almost to death, and he has a traumatic brain injury. And Allied Universal Security, wait, get this. Let me tell you one thing about Allied Universal real quick. I know this is off topic. Allied Universal bought out G4S, which is the group it's a private security company that runs the Israeli prisons that torture Palestinians. Okay, they bought G4S, and then Allied Universal just a few weeks ago. I'm from Memphis. Just a few weeks ago, there was a man who was playing music, a black man who was playing his music too loud for the Allied Universal security guard at a Kroger. And this Allied Universal security guard is an ex-cop. Well, he shot the man and killed him because of having music too loud. Okay. This is fucking Allied Universal. So it's like, does it take that for us to get rid of contracts in this city? Does it take Rivero Stinnett or the fact that they're endorsing Israeli torture prisons?
He's one of my Facebook friends.
Yeah, he's still alive, right?
Yeah,
I love Rivero.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy, man. Like,
it's like, what does it take?
We're all run by, at the end of the day, white supremacy.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's all white supremacy, and that's what I said in my Facebook post just a minute ago, like 30 minutes ago. I said, you guys. I want you all to know that you are perpetuating white supremacy and a racial caste system built on patriarchal control of people's bodies and dehumanization. And that is what you're going to be remembered by. Not whatever, this is the kind of shit that I can't believe only 2 people voted against that. How gross is that?
And Jamie Torres.
Yeah.
I was surprised by Jamie, honestly. She didn't really speak up.
I was too. Well, I think the show was evident that somebody was going to say something. I thought it was like Robin going so hard today.
Yeah.
What was the point of that monologue?
It was
her and Ortega.
Yeah,
what was the point of that?
It's the show. I mean, they're fucking, they're actors, man. Like, God, man, you already got paid. You're on salary or some shit, right?
Exactly. They get paid like $90,000 something plus a year, which, I mean, I think, we all should be fucking paid at least that much. So I'm not saying they should be paid less. I'm just saying for that much money, you should be doing the job of the people and listening to, like, when you're hiring contractors that are literally torturing people. Right. Like, we've proven it to you. Why do you have to do this?
Like they did with Core Civic.
Wait, will you tell me about Core Civic? Because I don't think I remember what happened with that. Will you tell me, give me the background on that, Jesse?
Well, Candy had to bring it up for call, which I think Candy brought this up for call, because usually it's just business as usual. They just go ahead and pass it in a block and go with business as usual. But that contract, the testimony was so compelling, and the reports that Candy had received from the people at the halfway house were so telling that they had no choice but to end that contract. Now, Core Civics is the same ones that do the ICE facilities. Ooh. So, if it wasn't for Candy's diligence and caring about the matter, they would have just voted it as usual. It would have just been business as usual. Nothing to see here. Nothing.
Well,
Shout out to Candy Cedar Blocker for stepping.
Shout out to Candy, dude. That's why it's curious, like, about these contracts and why this is such an important thing about them having no accountability. Is that, we have a friend who's in the downtown Denver jail. He's been there. His name is Pierre, and I posted his GoFundMe a few times, but he's been there since October of last year. He is on simply because he can't afford bail. This wealth-based system of incarceration is sickening, and we're only one of 2 countries in the world that still do it, us and the Philippines. Yeah, it's really bad. And so, but the point about that is that he's been connecting me with people, and so I talked with a porter who's also been locked up. He has a couple more months there, and he was telling me that since they signed that contract with what's the food company? What do they call it? What's the company? The food company that we all came out and we said we didn't want them.
Oh, the one that's in the jail right now.
Yeah,
fucking scumbags.
They have a terrible track record.
Yeah, they're serving moldy food right now.
Sorry, what'd you say?
Was it Aramark?
Aramark. Yeah. Okay. So Aramark, just in the last 2 weeks, they found a spider in their food and a screw, and they're serving them moldy food. And now all the food is being made off-site. It's not even being made like at the jail. And so because they have been giving, so many people were receiving spoiled milk, they switched the milk to this powdered fucking soy mixture thing that is supposed to be heated up in order for it to dissolve in the water. Well, they're not even giving them heated water to dissolve it. So they're literally just the powder isn't mixing in. And so people don't even have milk for their cereal or for whatever else they would need it for.
So the calorie about malnutrition.
Yeah, the calorie count. The porter told me they're not even adhering to the calorie count that they're supposed to be giving.
So people. Diabetics, and people like that have hypoglycemia can go into shock.
Right.
The right balances.
And that's why the implication
to maintain in jail. If you don't have the right things, like the right type of any kind of diet, at least the protein.
Like if you need dairy, right?
In there, for not eating right.
If the COVID was,
it's already bad enough they don't give you enough to eat. It's another thing they don't give you the right things to eat.
Exactly, and that's why the implications of these contracts is not just oh, we're wasting money. It's no, these are people's lives that are really being impacted.
Yeah.
And they're treating these contracts like it's just, well, we can just fire them. No, they just literally told you that they can't that you're not going to be able to just fire them because they don't have another plan.
Well, so it was going to be 10 months before they had another agency.
Fucking bullshit. It's like,
going on in this city for a year.
Did y'all see how fast this city cleaned up for the MLB game? 13 weeks.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure y'all can find another fucking company to clean up because you sure as hell did it for the MLB All-Star game. It's like
how many pooper scooper companies we got in Denver?
Wait, Dave just had an epiphany.
We need to get it out there. Like the guy that wouldn't make the gay cake in fucking Lakewood and went all the way to the Supreme Court. We need to make this shit go viral, and we need to make reviews about EHS stealing from unhoused folks, assaulting people, and then we can also add
I told
about how
the
city council knew that they were saying white power, and they still voted for him.
Yeah,
that's I told the cleanup dude, the bald one. I think he got the hot for me.
Ralph.
I told her, I said, when I first got my apartment, you remember I didn't have nothing. You guys sent some stuff over to my crib, right? And I was like, hey, you know what? Since you're sweeping all this stuff, let me reuse it. Just let me take some of this stuff. You're sweeping it anyway. You're going to trash it anyway. Just drop that off at my crib, right?
Yeah, we've seen them throw away electric wheelchairs.
Right. Yeah. I was like, hey, man, just drop that off at my crib.
Power chairs.
They crushed them.
Yeah. A Vespa. I watched them throw away a Vespa.
Yeah, I believe it, dude. I believe it. I was like, just take that over to my house, right? He's like, oh, all right. I gave him the address and everything. Did he do it? No. But he was willing to. he was willing to do it. I was like, I wonder if I
was that guy Ralph? Is that guy's name
Ralph?
Ralph?
Well, white guy.
What's his name, Ralph?
Well,
What?
Ralph sucks. He's from Dottie, we found out. And Ralph,
where's Ice talking shit?
here's the thing that, here's the other thing like John brought up. The accountability, okay, so you're going to have a Dottie employee who's going to be monitoring the behavior of EHS because that's now their whatever. Well, the Dottie employee is in cahoots with all of the EHS people. They're in a gang and they're all bullies and like it's nothing. There's not going to be accountability. Where's the checklist that whatever that woman's name is that looks like she's on Saturday Night Live, the one from Dottie?
Oh yeah. Oh god.
Doesn't she look like? Wait, who is it that's on Saturday Night Live that she looks like? Anyway, I'll send you a picture, but she looks like that character, and she's behind all this, a bunch of this shit because she's not doing her job.
I like how they play past the buck. That's what my dad used to call it.
Oh, I know. It is past the buck. Dance of the lemons. That's what we say in teaching. Like when principals would just go to the next school and it was like, okay, yeah, it's just the dance of the lemons. And you can't fucking make lemonade out of it either. So it's like.
That shit is fucking crazy. And because, like, I don't know, so the one saying, like, oh man, it's about to get real. Like, there's so much corruption in the city.
So
and, like,
much.
Like, like the police are responsible for fucking poisoning us with the motherfucking, with all the pills that are out there right there.
Right, the blues.
Police brought them out there. Police passed them out to motherfucking people they know can disperse them. Right? You know what I mean?
A friend of mine has a video of police dropping heroin in the park last summer, dropping it. And so,
they want to blame everybody, right? And nobody wants to say, well, didn't this come out your motherfucking evidence room? Didn't this come out your evidence room when you arrested old boy?
And they're perpetuating it to maintain the illusion of their relevance in our communities. Oh wait, did I lose y'all? I can't hear y'all now. I'm plugged in. Uh-oh. I can't hear y'all anymore. Can y'all hear me? Y'all are frozen. Okay, I'm going to leave and come back in because I can't hear y'all anymore.
Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties.
I was gonna say, I thought it was the algorithm.
Try to get back in here. But yeah, as you can see, that's complete fuckery. Let's look at the comments. We have
Shabaka
is on point as usual.
As
He
usual.
showed the lousy motherfuckers.
Yep.
He said these sons of bitches should be prosecuted for human rights violations. Yeah. Sounds like the city of Los Angeles as well. What else? Is there any way these bastards can be arrested?
Question mark.
All right.
That's my question all the time.
This is Mark Ridley's Thomas bullshit. Mm-hmm.
We're about to call our people right back. I'm all excited because I love calling the police out for all their nonsense. But I also like to say that I'm always right. Yeah, sometimes I always say the fucking police are always up to no good. You should not give them fuckers no more money. they're always on some nefarious activities. It's always something. City council's always on that bullshit. They're always lying. I'm always saying this, and it's just starting to become proof now, and I'm excited about it because anytime I get to talk shit about the police, it's always a great day for me. Or anytime I get to talk shit about city council, or any of the atrocities that are happening to us, it's like that. Outside is so bright today, Black family. This is the sunshine. I don't know what it is. It's probably but I don't know why I'm so bright. I don't know. Oh, look right. You see me like outside of this lamp right here that's right in front of us? I'm like super sunny right now. And we got to invite our guests back because it was getting pretty intense. I was like, the algorithms. That was my answer to everything. Okay, so let's see. We have technical difficulties. Yeah, but we didn't want these sweeps to keep happening, and we didn't want the contract.
These are not cleanups.
Yeah, they come in with their not in my backyard types.
And they're leaving trash behind.
They leave trash everywhere, and they act like they come and clean the streets afterwards from what they like to lie and say there's bodily waste and shit on the bodily waste and needles always on the sidewalks.
Yeah. Not factoring that there's people with diabetes on the street.
Right.
There's people that need to inject
and nobody just actively pees on the sidewalk.
Blood sugar with these needles.
Yeah.
They're not factoring all that in. They're just saying, oh, they're all just a bunch of drug addicts.
Always.
Like people with homes aren't drug addicts.
No shit.
And I'm sorry about that. I was like, it's the algorithms always being the algorithms. But we had technical issues, so we're sorry about that. I was like,
no, you're good.
Well, we're the pro tent people. Like you said, we're not advocating. We're not saying people need to be living in a damn tent. We need a house. We got 30,000 vacant luxury apartments. There's no reason, like I always say, that nobody does not have a house besides corporate greed and corruption.
He's always saying there's no reason nobody can have a home if they don't want one.
If they don't want.
And that part of it is what we need to start addressing, because people keep getting on here. And every week they come on to council and they say they vote for these zoning approvals because they claim that Denver needs more density, more housing. That's a lie. That is what they want us to think. But really, there's plenty of housing. There's 27,000 vacant units in the last census.
I would say 30,000 because the numbers originally came from Dennis Gallagher, the former city auditor, who at a town back in 2000 and I want to say 18.
Ooh, do you have that? Do you know where to find that?
It was taken at the Messiah Church. That's all I know.
Oh, really? Are you hearing this?
It was a town hall meeting.
Town hall meeting in 2018 with the city auditor, and it was taped at the Messiah Church, and he admitted about the vacancies.
Oh well, they released it. It's well known.
Well, I know, but I'm saying
the former auditor had announced it at a town hall meeting that there was 26,000 vacant luxury apartments. That was back in 2018. Now you see how much stuff they done passed since 2018. Yep. We have at least 30,000 luxury apartments.
And what's crazy about it is that what Harmony and Dave have brought up before is that what happens is these commercial real estate slumlords, they build these luxury units, they raise the rent, and so it thus raises the housing cost, the rent for all of the surrounding areas, even if they are just being gentrified and nothing's actually improving about the conditions of the surrounding places, raises the rent on all these other places. And then it doesn't even matter if they fill all of those units, because what they get to do then is they get to go to the bank and they get to then borrow against their projected rent, like income from these rentals, right? So it doesn't, the bank doesn't even demand that those places be full for them to then take out another loan and to borrow against the future projection of the income that they'll be receiving from those units. So it's literally creating one of the biggest bubbles that we're ever going to see in the housing market. And we think 2008 was bad. This is going to make 2008 look like a fucking birthday party. And,
Right.
you know, and we're going to have a huge, and what Candy said, we listen to Progress Radio, and we call in all the time. And we called into Dino Bidala. And these are national, on Sirius XM, they're like national shows that millions of people listen to. And we called in, and we got Dean. We've been calling in for so long that Dean finally was like, okay, let me have Candy on. So he did an interview with Candy a couple weeks ago, and he had Candy on, and Candy was like, so he asked her, what is it going to take? And she was like, I don't know. At this point, it might just take the market crashing.
Mm.
You know?
What's the name of the show?
The name of the show, it's called Dino Bidala. Dave, do you have a link?
I have a link to it.
Dave has a link to it. We'll send you a recording. Yeah, we'll send it to you. Oh, can you put it in the chat?
In this chat right now.
Yeah, okay, 1 second. He's gonna send it to me, and then we'll get it.
All your links right now that you got, just put them in our public chat right now.
Oh wait, because I put them in it says private chat. How do I do it public? The ones that I already sent.
Yeah.
Are those showing?
No.
Oh, I see them.
Can you copy them into the one that it needs to go to?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because this interview was really good with Candy, and it's like, what is it going to take? I don't know what it's going to take for people to care about these corporate real estate developers that are wagering the entire market. And then there's been all these reports recently about how these corporate real estate developers are actually trading on the stock market in the same way that they were doing these what's it called, Dave? When in 2008, what were they trading on the stock exchange?
Oh, subprime mortgages.
The subprime mortgages. So
Yeah.
in the same way that they were doing that, this is essentially what they're doing with these corporate real estate developments.
Commercial.
I meant to say commercial. And so this isn't like something that we couldn't even see happening. Like we already saw it happen in 2008, except now it's going to be all these apartments that people are claiming are needed for housing. And what we really need is affordable housing. And we need to stop building 12-story luxury apartments.
Houses.
So
We need
I can
houses that can actually afford.
I wanted to expand on what you said real quick, just so it's a little bit more clear. So the way that things are being grouped together, but it really starts with allowing. So when you build an apartment complex and then you borrow off of that complex, you get to borrow off of the rent that you would receive if it was completely full. So when they borrow off of that, at a multiplier of 10. So if I have 100 apartments and I rent out 50 of them for $2,000, even though I should rent them out for $1,000, I've collected all my money. And now I've got 50 vacant apartments that I can say should be at $2,000. Now I'm borrowing off of a much higher level. So this place is going on over here. I borrow, I build another one, and then I sell each of these before the bubble bursts. And what happens is the person or the group that buys them gets stuck with the bill because they can't pay the note on the building
Because nobody can afford
nobody's staying there anymore. And if they lower the rent to the appropriate amount, that still can't pay the rent, right?
Because
they have to keep it up, but now nobody can afford it, and eventually it's just a big fucking burst. All right, I got to call back. I sent that thing to you.
Okay, wait, Dave sent it to me.
Okay.
So the thing about Candy. Did you send it to my
Text message?
Okay, 1 second. Here we go. Copy. Here we go. So anyway, it's I don't know, it's just very concerning that we've been bringing this to council and saying this about this market. And so in that article that I sent y'all, the one that's about Sweden, it also details these neoliberal, he talks about it in the article. He talks about these neoliberal economic experiments is essentially what this all is like experimenting on all of us, and the market, because we know that like these neoliberal policies, that the market will correct itself, that it's trickle down, all of this bullshit that doesn't ever actually happen. We already know that doesn't work, you know, and that like there's no such thing as a trickle down economy. So the fact that they continue to like to create policies that are essentially in that same vein is very concerning. For who's like it's concerning that these are the people in power, that these are the people that are running the city, and they don't even know, they don't know anything about, you know, the way that any like these things are actually operating. Like I want to know what qualifies Sandoval. Like, for real though, like, you know, I mean,
right. A lot of people, you just kind of, what are their qualifications? Yet they got a lot to speak on, you know.
Oh yeah, her story about the needles in the tents last week. Can we just talk about that for a second?
Oh yes.
Let's talk about the one where the one was like, while I was in California and my kids, and I would never want that. And that happened with the needles and all this stuff, and I'm just
Sawyer saying that tonight.
Yeah, Sawyer, yeah.
I don't know how many sweeps I've been to where it hasn't been like that.
No, you know, and you know what? Here's what I have to say about that, just real quick. Let me say one thing. Let me say one thing about that. I used to work I worked for 5 years at Cole Arts and Science Academy, and as I was a special ed teacher there. The security guard would go around the freaking playground every day and look for shit on the playground. One day he walked outside and someone had put little knives at the end of the fucking slide, okay? And it's like real fucked up that they, you know, and he found them. He said he would find needles and all sorts of stuff. So before we start talking about Sawyer's trip to California or whenever she lived there, why don't we go on over to Cole Arts and Science Academy and make sure there aren't fucking needles on the playground? You know, let's talk about that.
Let's talk about, like, I lived in a nursing home. I lived in a nursing home right there on 60th Sable, right? Mm-hmm. And before I even moved there, my mother came to check it out, right? Because I was moving from another nursing home. I was going to this one because I had some issues, and just at that time I just couldn't stop being a drug dealer. Jesus Christ.
Whatever.
You know, at that time, okay, God. And I went from one place to another, right? Mm-hmm. Even up at that time, I just could not stop because I didn't have no way to support myself, blah, blah, blah,
right.
Whatever. Right?
Yeah, whatever the reason.
My mama goes to check out the nursing home. She's like, oh man, it's a real dive. And I was like, oh man, not another one. That means I'm gonna get a fucking another infection, have something else cut off, right? Because I had just lost part of my cap, right? The other spot. And I was like, oh fuck. You know, I'm really immobile. It was really fucked up at that time. I'm young, I'm like 35 years old. Right? And she's like, it's a real dive, Brandy, it's a real dive. She's like, I was cruising through the parking lot, my mother's driving. Cruising through the parking lot, trying to find a place to park. And, you know, luckily there's a lot of availability, but there's a lot of needles right here in the nursing home. Okay? And there's not, you know, I happen to be in the back. There's a little underpass right there where there's like there was at that time maybe 3 or 4 homeless people.
Right.
Just in the dark, in the cut, you know, nobody was there. Except if you went in the back of the nursing home to smoke a cigarette, you would see them in the dark. Because they'd be lighting up, you know, trying to stay warm. They look like New York right there for a second, you know. But they, you know, these weren't their needles.
Right.
These were somebody else's needles that they decided to shoot up. And there's apartments right in that area. There's a whole hotel they used to be right across the street.
It's like house people. They've done studies about it. They've done studies about like housed people and unhoused, and that the rate of drug use is comparable, and in fact sometimes housed people are doing it more often than people living on the streets. And so this narrative, I keep saying to people, I've been saying this since the beginning of when we started the audit and everything with the message to the mayor. I've been saying over and over, we have to reclaim the narrative of these false stereotypes that are perpetuated, because it is these stereotypes that are allowed to exist in public space, like public comment. Like the fact that we even allow them to be perpetuated, and that freaking Stacy, they need to be saying, no, that's not true. You're not allowed to get up here in public comment and say that this is all a bunch of drug dealers and you know, like you're not allowed to use that stereotype against our voting and against the way that we are making decisions, you know, and that's what they've allowed it to just proliferate.
Yeah, the thing about the drug, them calling everybody drug addicts and shit, like as we go out for like the last 2 months, real heavy,
real heavy.
I was like, check it out. Like in my mind, this is what I'm thinking. Like, you know, I wasn't really used. I was more of a like the doctor, but I wasn't really using as much drugs as I was. I probably did it before I got sick, you know, because I was on the street then.
Right.
But when I was housed, I really didn't have the need for it. But once I became homeless, and I had got violated in the street,
right.
My first year out there, that's when I started using drugs so heavily.
And that's what Dave said tonight.
I was selling because I had to stay awake to protect.
Right. And that's what Dave was saying tonight. He was like, go out there for a couple months.
Yeah.
And then you tell me you're not going to fucking use drugs. You know?
Right.
It became a real problem for me. I had to seek help actively still because, you know, addiction is an addiction. You know what I mean? But I spent 5 fucking years out there fighting elements for
exactly.
Police, trying not to get every night. You know, there was like for the first couple of years of the camping ban or whatever, they would come at like 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning with the lights. And hey, you're not anything with a blanket covering up your infringing on the camping ban or whatever. And they would come wake us up, and everybody would have to move in the middle of the night. Just for having a sleeping bag or something covering you.
And then that was when they could still do that, right? Because we in the thing, and you know the other thing is our friend, before this,
drugs as much as I was when I was homeless, but after that you didn't want to get busted sleeping or because you fell asleep because you were so
interesting. People don't ever talk about it like that. That like you have to stay awake, you know, and for your life.
Warm. That's the thing. At night, like right now, it's cold.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's cold right now. And when that started, it was like my first. I was just selling drugs, right? Like this is a transparent moment. I was selling, and when I got on the street after I got raped, I had to stay awake. But in the season that it is now, it's September. It was colder back then,
right?
Now that it is now, but it was cold. I have a bad heart, so I got to stay warm, right?
Right.
If I get too cold, my heart can stop. If I get too warm, my heart can stop, right? So it's a reality. So I had to. So after the rape, and one night when I got on the block, I had 16 rings on my fingers and bracelets that my mama gave me that I had for a long, long time. I fell asleep underneath I had a walker at the time. I put the walker down. I laid a jacket over it, and I fell asleep on the ground. Okay, I didn't have nothing but just like a blanket at that time. I fell asleep, my little hand like this, you know, like this. So I took my rings off my hand, and after that, that right there, that was one thing that fucking upset me the most because I don't have a real active relationship with my mother. You know, call her a villain. She's the villain. But so she took my rings. Then they raped me, right? So after that, I who would never advocate as somebody who was actively just selling drugs would be like, don't do any of your own supply type of shit, right? But then I actively started digging in my own shit, right? And said, fuck it, I have to stay awake.
Right.
I got to stay warm because I couldn't keep myself warm because it's hard to keep myself warm.
Right.
I'm extra layered up, whatever. I couldn't even layer up because it was hard for me to get any kind of clothes or anything because I was disabled. So I couldn't like feminine hygiene products. I'm right outside the Samaritan house. They didn't want to give me nothing. They didn't want to help me with nothing.
Samaritan house, the Catholic Charities. Oh my God.
So they let me.
You're gonna hear from us.
They let me have accidents. They let me struggle with that out in public. They banned. They threw me out in the middle of a blizzard. When I made a live today, I was talking about Wolf. I was talking about Wolf, right?
Yes.
Before Wolf passed away, but when I was still homeless, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
It was a blizzard when they threw me out. It was a blizzard. Samaritan House threw me out in the middle of the night because I got into it with the older lady. Older lady was bullying me because she thought she owned the overflow cot that she sleeps on, and I just need to use the plug.
This is just like Carlotta.
Yeah, so they kicked me out because I got a little loud with her because she got loud with me, and I just explained to her I need this plug.
They kick people out because they don't like their attitude. It's fucking ridiculous.
It was Michelle. It was Michelle that kicked me out, right?
Is it the same name that what's her name tells us?
I thought it was that little boy that kicked her out.
When she kicked me out in the middle of the night in the fucking blizzard, I drove my chair and I knew where my people were supposed to be camping. Right. They were by the Broadway Bridge behind like the Thomas More building, right? So I was gonna go down that way. As soon as I start getting down on the bridge, my chair starts to die, and I can't make it. It's already this chair particularly was not meant to drive in the snow, not like the one I got now, right? Not meant to it, and it was dying. It was too cold. It wouldn't stay charged. So when I got down, right before I got to Wolf, he was camping on the bridge, and that was my brother. Like he had helped me many times before that build a whole fortress around me. Man, like 5 other people, and they took bombs. I said, "Hey, Wolf," I said, "I can't go any further, bro." I said, they were supposed to come and get me, but they didn't. I waited for them for hours. They never came and got me. And the Samaritan house, I ended up going there because it was raining and snowing, and then they threw me out. I was like, can I stay here? I was like, I can't drive any further because it's a blizzard. And the chair won't even start. It won't even run. He's like, yeah, go ahead. Now, under the Broadway Bridge, in that particular area where he was camped, there was no snow. All the snow was everywhere else but that, right? So he made me a little pallet. He covered me up. I was like freezing. He gave me food. He fed me, right? This went on for a long time between me and him, right? And he would help me anytime, right? And he helped me that day. So he helped me that day. Then the next day, he had something to do really serious, and he was like, I have to leave, but I can't leave. I have to leave. And I said, I gotta go too. I said, I gotta go find a plug. Well, I knew there was no plugs down that way, further down by the until later on. I figured it out later on. But at that point in time, I didn't know there was any plugs where I could plug in the chair. Right? And it was snowing. That man from that Broadway Bridge all the way to the fucking Samaritan house, he pushed me. He helped me walk that chair. He helped push that chair. Well, all the fucking people that were driving by, looking and everything, by that ballpark fucking complex, all those rich, fancy little people over there, all just sat there, just kept driving. And me and him were having a long discussion about, like personal street things, you know what I mean? We're just, me and him, I didn't even walk at the time. Me and him were walking, pushing the chair up the hill in a fucking foot of snow. He did this with me religiously for years.
Oh my God.
While I was homeless. Religiously did he come out his way to bring tents, food, whatever. When people left me somewhere, he came, no matter what, I would be thinking about him right there. Anytime I had a problem in the street, I deal with it, and because, I am who I am. Sometimes I can't just talk to anybody. I have to talk to somebody else, because they have these little rules and the little gutter rules, right? But even though I am, I have to deal with a certain propaganda, right? But he would help me facilitate those conversations, because sometimes you just need an older man with wisdom to come and break things through to these knuckleheads out there. But then he would help that, and then there was a couple of times where he had to come out and actually fucking defend me. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Where it was me and him sometimes were like actually getting into some real aggressive, violent shit, and he actually had to defend me, and that was tough because he put himself in the line of fire. But that's what the rules for when you see women out in the street, or men in the street.
Right.
Let women be abused. You'll let women get hurt. If you can avoid it, you'll do it. You know what I mean? And he was
Paul.
Exactly.
He was that type of man, and he was a good man. And that's what a lot of people, some people didn't like him, some people did. But the ones who had bad things to say, it's just because they experienced the wrath of him, because they provoked that.
Because they'd done something bad.
They done something that he couldn't. They at some point they couldn't even fucking fix, and they just had to act out. But he always had the upper hand at the end of the day, because he was smart and he knew how to talk to people. He knew how to reason with them, and me and him, man, for 5 fucking years. That was my brother. So when I read that, I was like, I couldn't even contain myself. I was
So Paul was the one who texted Dave and told him, and that's how that's how most people found out. I think was because our friend Paul. Do y'all know Paul?
Yes.
Okay, so Paul's a good friend of ours, and he texted us and was like, "Hey, Wolf died last night," and we were like, "What?" And we didn't even know that he had cancer.
Yeah.
Did you know?
Yeah.
Why do you know?
Yeah, I knew because me and him have like
right, because your relationship.
Hearts.
Yeah.
Hearts, hearts, especially about me being as sick as I am.
Literally, yeah.
We had a little like I'm not supposed to be pushing the goddamn chair.
Yeah. And you're not supposed to be
nobody.
Outside in a blizzard either. But the Un-Samaritan House doesn't give a fuck about people, and they kick people out.
And then Ben went to one of the officers.
Neither does Jesus Unsaved.
Yeah, I went to
exactly. And you know that Jesus Saves. You know that Jesus Saves, that the rescue mission was one of the biggest donors to the Anti-300 campaign.
Yes, I believe it.
And then who's the what the hell's their name? Not Jesus Saves, but the no, the place around the corner from Jesus Saves. St. Francis. I drove by there and I'm like, hey, looking at these guys, who's paying you to put up this orange fencing? Oh, St. Francis is. I was like, oh, that's nice. Just wanted to find out who's paying for this. Yeah, so St. Francis is paying for fucking orange fencing.
And they're also the same service. They're supposed to be like the service providers, right, for that area. And there's not. They're dissertation, and they offer these little programs like you're supposed to be able to go in there and get food stamps, blah blah blah, right? But that one program that I'm on, that me and Jesse were on, the bond one, the one that they target us, the
Denver Basic Income.
There you go.
Yeah.
Where they don't want you to go to jail anymore,
not the Denver Basic Income.
Yeah, okay, that's what it's called.
You guys are on that.
We heard about
this. That's what this one was. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. They call it different things.
Are they giving you like a debit card and a monthly stipend?
No.
Okay. Different program.
Right.
Jesse would know about the other one because that guy keeps calling in his public counsel.
But he hasn't called in a while. The guy came in. Remember, the guy was like, white savior complex. I made a bunch of money off Tesla. I want to, give some people some money. I heard he's gone crazy and he's trying to like control the whole situation and telling people that they have to give their money back if he's not happy with them.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a social experiment to see what would happen.
Yeah, nobody got that experiment done.
Nope.
Well, yeah, we know some people are in it, and then other people quit. Like all the nonprofits like stepped away. If some of these shady nonprofits are even stepping away, it's got to be real fucked up.
Yeah, but none of the people got it.
Well, remember Hans tonight said something about doing a pilot project.
Yeah, but none of
that guy. That's going on right now.
Yeah, none of the people.
We know at least one person. I know one person that has a debit card.
They received it?
Yeah, Paul's in it. He's actually got the card. He got the 6,500, and then he gets like a monthly stipend of something.
Oh wow! Because I haven't met anybody yet who's gotten that.
Interesting.
And there's like three different parts, right? To the
one that gets $50 a month.
Yeah. So the one gets a lump sum and then a monthly stipend. Another one gets like a monthly amount, and another one gets like even less than that, a monthly amount.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're saying, hey, if you get caught buying like alcohol or something with it or doing drugs, you have to pay the money back. It's like, really? You're gonna make?
Why did you give it to him?
Why did you give it to him in the first place?
Yeah, if they were unhoused, you think they had money to pay you back, you jackass.
Right.
Right. But what did you think they were? You gave it to them.
Well,
so what did you?
It's like the same thing as like people are like, don't give it to them. They're gonna buy drugs. Don't give money to panhandlers.
That's what he said.
Who the fuck cares?
Yeah, he said.
You know what?
The panhandlers and shit.
If you're controlling how it can be spent, it's just another form of social control. That's all it is. It's nothing more than that. And so don't act like you're coming in here to help people. You're coming in here to further control people. And that's all it is. And you're trying to do it with money and to people who are vulnerable and need the money. And that is exploitative. That is when you're exploiting people and you are doing it for your own notoriety and to make yourself feel like you're doing good when really you're perpetuating an oppressive system of capitalism. And that's fucking sick.
Exactly.
So, what are your thoughts on Hancoon, as I call him,
I
Hancock?
call him Hand Crook.
Yeah.
Trying to get 200 people house within 100 days.
That's a fucking joke to me.
Okay.
I have 4 in my house right now.
Can we talk about
Do the
why
math.
is it people are reporting this as if this is like he's doing such a good job? Hancock, let's get one thing straight. Why are you not doing this? Why is this not the standard always? Number one, why is you're acting like this is like some new thing? This should have been always the standard. Y'all should have always been trying to do this. Number one. Number two,
people a day.
Britta, I want to talk to Britta. You know, hey Britta, let's have a conversation.
Yes.
Because you're like a Britta that doesn't have the fucking filter in it.
Right.
You are doing a bad job.
Bad job. Yeah.
And she gets up there and she spews off the housing first. You know, they're acting like they can't already house everybody. Here's something that's gonna blow your mind. Last week we did an interview with Frank Sturgill. Y'all might know Frank.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. He used to live at the COVID shelter run by the Salvation Army. And wait, I'm hearing some weird feedback.
Yeah, I guess.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
We're getting a little bit of feedback.
That TV or something?
This is weird, isn't it?
You're usually the one.
He's been muted.
They don't like us talking about this, huh?
No.
Usually the one.
They're messing with the signal.
Oh, finally, it's my thing about the algorithms. Like, this is for the ones that like to mock us. I gotta say it the right way. Algorithms. Man, they'll be right back. Yeah, there's a little group that likes to talk shit about us, but don't ever say our names. You know.
You're talking about Jeff Screw.
Yeah, and every time I said the algorithms, they started saying like that one time, and we just started laughing because it's funny. They're not funny though. It's funny when I say it.
Us. They're not watching us.
You're watching, but you're not watching. You're paying attention, but you're repeating the same shit we say. Come on now, stop playing. Stop playing. Anyway, yeah, I just had to say it for them. That way, when they decide to mock me later on in the week, they can get it right. Algorithms.
So yeah, as you can see, Denver is corrupt.
A little eyeball. I see you out there still.
That's Shabaka.
Oh, that's Shabaka. Brother Shabaka. You seen this unreal racketeering looking corruption? Yeah, it's not as bad as in California. California's way worse. I know that. It's pretty fucking hectic out here. And it's that time that the uprising happens and motherfucking just start calling it out. People are tired. Well, the underdogs, the underdogs are tired of watching this shit happen. And so this is about that time, man. I can say this. It's coming. It's fucking coming. I can't wait till they play musical city council chairs, musical mayoral seats, musical politicians. But in a sense that get the fuck out, everybody.
Right, sweep them. Sweep
all of them. All of them. Don't even get a chance to clean your desk. Just get the fuck out. We're not even gonna give you a chance to recuse yourself or renounce or fucking I quit, soft apology, resign, whatever. Thank you, baby. They're not gonna give you a chance to even apologize to the people for being a fucking jerk and riding the pipe of white supremacy and accepting white dollars and prostituting yourself for the fucking mayor. We're not gonna. We don't even care about that anymore. You already know you're selling yourself and riding the pipe to the fucking power line of popularity. That's what it is. Riding the pipe of popularity. And not even the popular vote, it's the white vote. Not to self. Riding the pipe of the white vote. Yeah, prostituting yourself for fucking money. I don't care. I'm saying it.
Yeah.
Be mad at me. I'm the one who said it. And I approve of that message.
We approve this message on Frontline Black News.
No, seriously, man. They are prostituting themselves. It's always prostitution, paperwork, and propaganda. Exactly. And the president of city council, right, president?
Stacey Gilmore.
Stacey Gilmore should have recused herself.
Yeah, she should have recused herself.
Should have recused herself, Black family, but she didn't.
Okay,
all right, you're back. I was telling the people about how, we're tired of everybody riding the pipe of white supremacy, and what else I said, and they're prostituting themselves for white dollars, and the popularity vote.
Best
and,
way to say it.
What else am I saying? What else I say? Oh, and then Stacey Gilmore should have recused herself.
Yeah.
Just general, just because it's only been read to her, and not even asked, demanded, and she chose not to. She chose to ignore that, and clearly showing racism, favoritism,
did you even hear back from the ethics
all
board?
kinds of extra shit, and that my baby has actual words for. You can
the other thing is, I'm trying to get my phone out of this case so I can keep it. Oh shit. The other thing is that not only was it read to her, but the ethics board. Oh shit! Hold on. Okay, the ethics board never got back to Dave, so that's also a little curious. Like, so not only did Stacey, not do the right thing.
I got David over there fucking kissing her ass, dude.
I'm like, go, babe. I'm not going in there. I was like, I'm not going in there. He's like, I gotta go down there. And I'm like, all right, you go do your thing. I'm not, because I don't want to fucking see them right now.
I was trying to send in some like subliminal messages with my shirt, but it
Yeah.
didn't work.
Oh, we got the message.
Really
We're there looking at the show like.
Well, because y'all know about the other shirt. So wait, tell them about the.
I like it when you made the amended shirt.
I know. I was about to say, for like 3 days he wore a shirt that said, like, it used to say "fuck Trump," but then he marked out Trump and put DPD on it.
I love walking into the grocery store where the cops are like security guards and be like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah.
Look at me and like, "What?"
Thinking like, what is this? That's your constitutional right. You have freedom of speech.
Exactly. Right. It's like Eric Brandt. Do y'all know about Eric Brandt?
Yes.
Don't you love Eric Brandt?
Yes.
God, he's so good. It's like, we gotta. Oh, did y'all hear about Jamie actually got into a really bad accident?
What?
Do you know Jamie? Do you know who Jamie is?
Jamie who?
Jamie's he's friends with Eric, and he's let's see, I'm trying to think of, if y'all were watching the Four Winds sweep, he was the one who was saying like happy fuck the cops day, and I think he's unhoused, or he has been like sometimes, I think, but he was in a really bad accident the other day.
That's terrible.
And I didn't know if you knew him.
Yeah, no, I don't know him personally, but I love him.
I love him. I fucking love him. I'm like, you go out there. I was like, preach, dude. Just keep saying that shit.
I like the one who says how can you sleep at night?
That's him.
Oh, that's it.
That's Eric.
Yeah. That's I say that all the time. I'm like,
that was the man. He's like,
I love
that. And he got this other brother. I know it's a hard job and everything. And he tries to make like go on the side of empathy, but you don't have to do this. You choose
You don't have to do it.
You could stop.
It's like my friend Don Quinique. Do y'all know Don Quinique? She does Give Us Our Harvest. Okay, so Don Quinique, y'all have you what?
We've had her on the show before.
She's nice.
Well, y'all need to have her on the show soon. I'll see how much she wants to talk about it publicly. But there's something big that is anyway. So we'd like to talk to her about her thoughts on the marijuana and the reparations and everything, like,
and
the social harvest. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, that's a big thing. That is a big thing that's going on. But also, I want to turn this marijuana money into something else, because capitalizing on a natural product, a natural herb.
Well, and they're
capitalizing the way all this money, like, and the taxes on it. Shit. Like,
and the 400 years is up. That's what she always is saying. She's like, 400 years is up. Give us our harvest. And she's been in Virginia recently, because they just legalized it, but they're doing it for reasons that are obvious, to further, capitalize off of land. And the most fucked up thing about all this is that I was reading, well, not the most fucked up thing, but one of the fucked up things. I used to date a guy, and he's from Memphis, and his grandfather was the Surgeon General at one point under some president. And he was the one. So this is, however many years marijuana has been illegal. Well, this is while it was still illegal. His family owned land in Alabama, and they leased the land to the U.S. government to grow, wait for it, marijuana on. And so the U.S. government was growing weed in Alabama on his land when it was still illegal. I mean, it's still federally illegal. And they're acting like, it goes so deep and crazy.
Like they want to criminalize it. But
they're acting like, and we have people in jail for life for fucking weed. And you have the U.S. government growing weed.
None of these states have freed any of the people that they have locked up behind.
Exactly. Free them all.
Free them all.
Drug distribution.
Yep. It's
I have a brother that's doing time right now here in the state of Colorado for broccoli.
Yep.
They gave him
16
years.
Free them all.
16 years.
And they haven't let him. Oh my! What happened to all the fucking Polish supposed to get out?
Pontius Polis.
Yeah.
He's not. He's full of shit too.
Paula said, "What's up? I'm following the trend." You know what I mean? He was following the trend.
Of course, that's what he said.
You know what I mean?
We're having this case reevaluated, so he should be getting out pretty soon. I think he'll be getting out within a year or two.
But you can't give back all those years of his life in there. That's the thing. It's so fucked. And let's talk about
suffered.
What'd you say?
And nobody really understands the kind of atrocities that happen in jail and prison because of something so stupid that they put out there that they mean fucking. It's always fucking white supremacy at the end of the day. Always put out there and try to capitalize on, and it takes us in for fucking actually, whatever the fucking pieces are, and don't leave us in there. But they never get put in prison. Yeah. They never get to go to prison, and if they do, they go to fancy. And they're going also little life, while the other motherfuckers like us are in there suffering real major fucking atrocities. That when they come out, they don't even know how to behave themselves anymore.
Yeah.
Well, and
institutionalized.
They got this shame shit going on that's even worse than they went in. They come out even worse because now they didn't see and experienced more than they should have ever had to. Ever. A simple fine, something like that, they could have maybe worked it off. They could have figured it out. There's a lot of things that some never had to be in prison for so motherfucking long over a couple of pounds a week.
And that's why the wealth-based detention is so sick, because we did all this research for Pierre that, did you know, so if you go to court and if you haven't been bailed out before your court date, your likelihood to get convicted and your sentence itself both increase just because you're in jail attire, right? Yeah. So like the very nature, the very fact, like the very way in which wealth-based detention further perpetuates it. It not only is fucked up because why are we holding people who have not been convicted of a crime in jail just because they can't afford to post bail? Number one, it's so fucked up. But number two, it not only is like unnecessary suffering from that, but in fact, if you don't bail somebody out, if somebody doesn't get out of jail before their court date, they're more likely to get convicted and to get a longer sentence. So it's like triply fucked up,
It's that, and then it's kind of a favorite to the type thing too. Sometimes, like they'll pick up a motherfucker that their crimes that they committed were worse than an FTA, but they'll give them people like a $1 bond now, and their FTA, which is a failure to appear, like a $25,000 bond, Right.
Exactly. This failure to appear, the failure to appear shit is really, it is one of the worst parts about it, because we've been following all these people. I've been filling out Colorado Freedom Fund like applications for people, and so because Pierre keeps connecting me with people. And
shout out to Colorado Freedom Fund.
Shout out to Elizabeth Epps. Yeah.
If you can afford to be under $1,000 bond, they'll help you out. Okay?
Well, so the other day I filled out a form for Elijah McClain's uncle. And he said that he was going, I get on the phone and he's like, hey, he gives me his name. And I'm like, you're not related to Elijah McClain, are you? And he's like, yeah, I'm his uncle. And so I fill out a Colorado Freedom Fund application for him. And he tells me that he was checking himself into rehab because he knew he needed help, checking himself into rehab. And that he gets to the rehab and they fucking run his name and they come and arrest him at the rehab because he had a warrant that he was going to deal with after he got help that he needed. Okay. He was like, I was going to do, whatever. But now they have rehab centers working for the police to fucking turn people in and get people arrested. And it's fucking sick. But the point of all that is to say that he, the failure to appear, he told me that first he didn't. So the first time he got a failure to appear, it was because he had called in, but he couldn't get through the virtual court system because it was so confusing for everybody. And then his second time he was supposed to appear, he thought that he said nowhere on the paperwork did it have anything that indicated he needed to come in person. So he thought it was going to be over the phone again, like it has been through the pandemic. Well, he shows up at the courthouse and they're like, no, he tries to get through and they're like, no, it's in person. And so he got 2 failure to appears because of that kind of technical bullshit. And yet they use that against you.
And listen to everybody else's case too.
Exactly.
Like, you don't just get to, all right, well, you're going to appear at 9:00. At 9:00, they're running like 50 people through the court system.
Yep. It's just like,
you're just sitting there.
Wait your turn.
Yeah, and if you don't hear them when
for 5 minutes in front of a judge.
And they don't often let you have a public defender right then and there. They try to book it out, reschedule it, or whatever. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you can't even get through because in the very beginning when they started that shit, like I was doing fucking somebody else's fucking calling thing because they didn't have patience, right? And I'm sitting there like with the patients listening. I'm like, oh man, did you know your cousin was in there? As a DV charge, right? I was there laughing, giggling, shit, right? By the time they got to this person that I was doing this for, it was already like 2 hours later. That's 2 hours worth of people I had to listen to go through their shit. Okay, so I can understand. Sometimes it is frustrating. Sometimes you put the phone down, you might miss your turn, you might have to go to the bathroom. Something, you know what I mean? Get something to eat, whatever, because that is so fucking mind draining. So the fact that they give anybody a failure to appear is extremely crazy.
And then those failure to appears, like they impact. It has so much weight that it's like, why are?
The more you occur, the likelihood that you're gonna stay in there, because they're gonna be like the opposing the DA or whatever. It's gonna be like, oh, they got 16 failure to appear.
Yep. And they're not even gonna give you the option for a bond.
Wait, I had this happen. Oh, but you had 16 failure to appears, and that means you're a flight risk.
Yep.
That means you're not eligible for a PR bond or anything like that. No matter what the charge is, you have over 5, I think, is a fucking problem. You know what I mean? So they're like, well, no, we don't think that it's right for you to be let out, considering that this is your 16th failure to appear and you're here on a warrant. Yeah,
it's like
and you got new charges. We think you're gonna let you stay.
It's like y'all are lucky if I'm even here right now because I had to take 5 buses and get the bus fare. They don't even take into consideration that not everybody is coming at this from it. It's not like, okay, wait. Speaking of this, Sandoval the other day. Oh my God, she was on CityCast Denver, which is the podcast. She was on CityCast and she gets on there, y'all. Oh my God, it was Sandoval. Did I say Sawyer? I meant to say Sandoval. She gets on there. I don't know if y'all remember last year, but Sandoval, Jesse, you might remember this. Sandoval, during Black Lives Matter, was talking about the Latina women that are on council and how they all need to come together. And she made a comment about black on black crime and was like so off her rocker in making that comparison. So this is last year. Flash forward to a year later, almost a year to the date. She gets on CityCast Denver and she goes, everybody's talking about equity. This, there's popular term equity. I want equality. This is what she says. Okay.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
Kenny said she couldn't even get them people to sit with her.
Yeah.
So
she couldn't even get any of the Latina chicks to sit with her and discuss anything.
Right, because they just want Candy to roll over and to do whatever they want. And to, Ortega was a part of the team that wrote the River North plan. If you read that plan, y'all, that plan literally says in it, it suggests a name change to make it more marketable to developers. It writes it out in the plan, y'all. They write a plan for gentrification. It's gross. And Debbie Ortega has her name on the front of it. And so I'm like, why would Candy want to sit down with somebody like that?
Right.
I don't blame Candy.
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that she's stepping that up a little bit. I appreciate that because I like like I said, I was going off into further chest.
You were pissed.
And he deleted almost half of my messages because I was like, what do you mean you ain't got no pool? What do you mean you can't object? Who win it? I was just like, what do you mean you don't know what's going on 3 seats down about this and this and this? When it's all over Newsbreak. If I know about it and I'm just a little guy, how the fuck do you mean you don't know about it? Like that. I was just going on and on because I was like, this is the pride of the East Side. Who lied? Who said this? I was going on, right? Because I was just like, oh, this was your chance. This was your chance to make me believe.
Well, and I think like I try to think about like what would you like? They've railroaded. What is it called? Like railroaded?
Yeah.
They have kind of like railroaded Candy though because she was very, and so like it's like
on the opposing of everything, that's good.
Well, right, because she was doing what was right, but it's like she's come out recently with these strange, unexpected partnerships with like Flynn for that one thing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh.
After I went off, dude, I feel like she made a major change. After I went off on her and stuff, and I just, like I said, that's so disgusting. I had to make a whole fucking scene about it. I made my own little program on it. And then right after that, man, she just stepped it up a little bit, started objecting and actually saying some real shit, asking the regular questions that she needed to ask. I was like, well, goddamn, is that what it takes?
Who are we gonna get to? We need somebody running in every single district, y'all. We got to get people to run because we got to flip Denver City Council. Right. 2023, we're flipping the fucking council.
Right. Well, we're working on that right now. Like currently, we're working on it. This is Mr. Tangibles.
So,
well, I know, but Jesse is one. We need more than Jesse, honestly.
Right.
If
Shannon is going to run for District 10?
I can't say or deny it, but I would bet that my money is on the fact that she will. But
she better fucking run because
I can't say or deny it.
Right.
So
that guy sold his soul to Hancock.
But Hines has been useless. Useless. It's just like he's just like okay. Two things. One, when they give these monologues, it's like they give these monologues and they ask these good questions. Kanish asks wonderful questions.
Yeah, data.
And then she votes opposite to what and I'm like, why are you even asking these questions if like you're not even going to take them into consideration?
Right.
Like, what are you doing? Hines does the same thing. He asks some good questions sometimes, and then it's like, oh, okay, I guess I just didn't hear what you just said, and I'm just gonna vote like this way that everybody wants me to anyway. And like,
made their minds up before they come in the chambers how they're gonna vote.
Well, we have that actually. We have proof of that in Stacey's emails that we got, because we know that for weeks prior to the vote about the council people that I had already made up her mind. And so all of this like constituent input that she got that she actually didn't get. She didn't get a single email from a constituent saying that they wanted her to vote that way on that vote, even though she claims that they did. But all this constituent input, it didn't fucking matter because she'd already made up her mind, and we have it in email.
Yeah. What about Herndon's performance tonight?
What is wrong? What is wrong with Herndon?
What's the name of the black one, baby?
He went to West Point. That says it all right there. You don't even need to know anything else about him except that he went to
They
West
broke
Point.
him down at West Point.
Racist.
Can't move 10 feet without walking by a fucking southern racist slave-owning fucking statue.
It's not one of us like that. But
Herndon has an issue. Like, what is his problem?
Did you see his performance though tonight?
That's Baby Hancock.
Like right there,
I called him out.
Performance tonight. You know what I mean?
I came on just to say, no, we're not screwed on October 11th. October 11th comes and you have another company come in. Fuck that guy. He was just like making it sound like we were desperate.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so full of shit. Him and then Flynn, like just stroking their fucking nutsack, like they're the greatest thing. The EHS is so great.
Exactly. He's just riding the dick of fucking popularity and fucking white supremacy and accepting dollars for it. Stop prostituting yourself.
I'm gonna start every city council with white power. That's what y'all voted for. You voted for white power. Good job.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that when that lady was like, what she say? We won't tolerate white supremacy or such shit. I was sitting there like, God, man, you taking my shit away from me.
If we know about it, we've been telling you for years.
I was ready. I was like, this white fucking shit, man. It's like
you don't have to go to find it. It's not like a hide and seek. Like it's everywhere. Like you know, it's like it's not like it's hiding.
Right.
Like, I said that like, man, today was like you know when we sit back and watch our performances, our time when time was shining for fucking less than 3 minutes. If we get that chance, we're like, man, we're rooting for the other one. Like me and Jesse over here rooting for you guys. And
I know. On our side. I'm always like, oh, they turned up tonight.
Yeah.
Man, I was like, I have been typing to Jesse. I was like, it's about to get real. It's about to get real.
This motherfucking bitch.
They didn't let the black people talk tonight. They didn't let us talk tonight.
Courtesy comment was only for 30 minutes.
Yeah,
30 minutes. It's getting lower every time. It's like, Stacey, she's like, I'm so sorry that everyone can't speak. It's like, no, everyone could speak, Stacey. Yeah. You're just choosing not to let them. Like, let's get one thing straight. It's not like we like are like on the Titanic and we're running to the lifeboats and like we just can't speak. Like, no, like we're on ground, on land, a landlocked state, and there's no iceberg coming, and we could all fucking speak, Stacey, if you would just like do your job and not like.
Don't you feel like some 3 minutes are longer than others?
Oh, some 3 minutes are definitely longer than others. And I've fucking said that before. And I'm like, time me. So tonight we did. Dave and I were paying attention to the time because we know that some of them are longer than others. And they just, it's like, also, can we just get the flavored cigarette people? Like, can they just have their own public comment or something? Man, I'm like, it's a waste of fucking time.
I love menthols. I was going to start right out.
I'm like, listen. You're either going to create a black market for it, an underground market, or you're going to do it legally and be able to tax it. Why would you ban it?
Black people doing it. It's like, the certain tokenized black people out there. Stop it.
It's like the number of times that my person has had to order a new brand because like Colorado banned it. Like for like, and he's like, oh no, I can't get that brand anymore because Colorado won't let me. And then they find another one like 2 days later. It's like it's not going to go away. And kids also, they keep referring to it as a tobacco product. This is a nicotine product. It's by definition not tobacco, actually. Like that's like the whole point of it. It's literally not tobacco. So like, can we stop talking about it like that? Because they're claiming to be like doctors with all of these like certifications, and it's like, well, you don't even know if it's nicotine or tobacco, so I'm pretty sure I don't trust your opinion on anything. And can y'all just like have your own public comment away from the rest of these things that are really way more important?
Right. Like when they threw that in there, I was like, God damn it, you're taking away from the sweeps.
I was like, we have 2 or 3 people about flavored cigarettes. Like,
I love menthols.
It's like I'm gonna figure out a way.
Look, man, I love menthols. I ain't gonna lie. I don't give a fuck how much cancer you think it's gonna give me.
It's like, do you think in New York that people don't smoke cigarettes? Like people smoke all the time in New York, and they're like $20 a pack.
I know. These motherfuckers are like what, 10?
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing about it too is bans like this, bans on e-cigarettes disproportionately impact low income people. And so it is a vice tax, just like all vice taxes. It disproportionately impacts low income people. And it's like these things that they do, they think that they're like, it's literally just going to make all the markets around here, like Lakewood is now just going to be able to sell e-cigarettes and make a ton of fucking money off of the people who used to buy them in Denver. And so they're purposely going to put people out of business. And they also, like, I don't believe some of these statistics. Like, I think that they're making them up sometimes. I'm not even kidding. Like, they come on here and they say, oh, well, we have this white paper. And I'm like, okay, like, where was this study done? Like, is this even a real rate? And also, the person who came on tonight saying that e-cigarettes don't help with smoking cessation, Dave and I literally quit smoking cigarettes using e-cigarettes. Right. So I'm like, I don't know what study you're coming with, but like, we literally, both of us stopped smoking cigarettes by using e-cigarettes.
Isn't it like mostly water anyway?
It's like, I mean, whatever it is, it's probably not good for you either. But it's like, but the point is, she was trying to argue that there's no, she was like, the CDC has no evidence that e-cigarettes and quitting smoking, that they have no evidence that e-cigarettes help quitting smoking. And I'm like, well,
like this, like some white kid probably had a seizure or some crazy shit like that, and it became a big problem. He was smoking, he was vaping, and all of a sudden he was crazy, right? And then it was like a couple of situations like that, usually with white people. And all of a sudden, there's a big fucking thing. And then
all of a sudden,
next thing you know, they take it and put it to us and make it like, oh, well, the target
and villainize
targeting Black people. But really, it started off with some white people was crazy. He's probably doing drugs and forgot to take his meds. And was using, he was sneaking around. He didn't want to smoke cigarettes, so he's sneaking around with a vape pen. And probably his drug is either his drugs or his medicine counteracted with whatever chemical that was actually in the shit,
didn't give a damn.
And caused something else to happen.
Remember how many ads they used to have?
Just like that. And then it became somebody's mother got upset.
They used to have cartoons with people smoking cigarettes in them when I was little.
Yeah.
I mean, Looney Tunes, the fucking Roadrunner or whoever it was always smoking a cigarette. I can't remember who it was, but like I watched fucking cartoons.
It was like Wile E. Coyote, right? He was always smoking a cigarette, or was it motherfucking the Rooster?
It was like one of the, I think that's why maybe I think it was the Roadrunner because they looked like kind of.
They talking to the chicken hawk. He was smoking a cigarette.
But it's like when they come out and they talk about the cigarettes usage.
Yeah, happy to.
Yeah,
it's like they're villainizing. It's just another way to like stereotype and criminalize the things. So like it's reinforcing this narrative about drugs, right? Because they're talking about it as if it's a drug, and they're talking about it as if it's something that like dirty people do, or that people do, that are like immoral, or that like people do when they don't have any like self-control, when really at the root of all of any addiction, of any usage of anything, is something else. People always act like it's the addiction, and it's like there's something underneath there. Like when you were talking about being homeless or being on the streets and using, like, because of that was at the root of it. It wasn't. Yeah.
Drugs to stay warm and awake, because some drugs would actually make you like feel like kind of like feverish, I guess.
Right. No, yeah.
Inside, you know what I mean? And you start feeling sweaty or whatever. But that right there would keep you warm if you were under a blanket.
It could have saved your life. Like, let's like remember, like it might have saved your life.
In my case, it actually did, right? Because it would make my heart beat normally, right? And mellow me out, because I got ADD, like bad ADD.
Me too.
And like
so bad,
like super obnoxious all the time. So
talk to Dave. He would say the same thing about me.
It would mellow me out. It was like I couldn't. Once they stopped passing out Ritalin for my condition, then
why'd they stop?
I like they told me they weren't making it no more, and that's why.
Bullshit.
But then they said, oh, well, Adderall is better. And I was like, oh, no, I don't want to try that, because I'm like a person that doesn't like Western medicine anyway. And so when I started doing drugs, when I started doing my own drugs anyway, when I went to being homeless, the fact was that I was smoking meth, and at that time, and the thing was is that it kept me warm, but it balanced out my ADD and made my heart regular, and also made like the other conditions that I had personally normalized. And I had a bleeding condition at the time. It made it stop. Everything stopped.
Really?
Regulated for me.
Wow. Isn't this interesting?
Society, if you listen to how they're speaking, they say, "Oh well,
How
that's
they talk about it,
drug, and it's bad, and you can die." Right? But if you ask my doctors, they would say her stopping it will kill her. Right?
Wow.
But I had to stop because at first I got into housing, right? And I had to deal with it. I had to deal with it. And first of all, MHCD should not be allowed to touch Black people's brains anyway. Just put it that way.
Oh wait, tell me more about that.
Because they're not they will actively say we don't know how to deal with Black issues or any other racial issues that people have. Just because I'm in a fair shade doesn't mean I get passes by anything. Right? I don't. Actually, I don't. I get treated worse. Right? But they don't know how to deal with us. Right? And because we're poor, some of us are poor.
I have a story about this.
The only option is MHCD. Right?
Wait, can I interrupt you? I'm sorry. I just want to tell you one thing real quick. Frank had mold in his place that the city was providing. Right. through Colorado Coalition for the Homeless, and then it got turned over to Salvation Army. Yeah. He was getting mold. He was getting services through the Colorado Coalition for the Homeless, like health side of things, right? Yeah. Like they run the St. Francis Center, and or the clinic or whatever. Yeah. So he was getting it through them, and he went to get treated for mold exposure. Okay, he could barely breathe at night. It was really affecting him for months and months. Guess what? The doctor for the Colorado Coalition, guess what she prescribed him? She prescribed him an SSRI and for depression, and said essentially get over it, and treated him as if he was depressed, not as if he had exposure to mold.
And mold trigger all kinds of things like
but he wasn't. They had never talked about his depression. He wasn't. That's not what was going on. She essentially was like, shut up, take this SSRI. Yeah. And how fucked up is that?
It's terrible. But that's what happens out there when they don't want to deal with the individual. Yeah. I've had in the last year, which anybody who's ever used drugs for whatever reason, and they became addicted to them, right? Mm-hmm. And they either are addicted to them because they're addicted because their body craves it, right? Or because they're doing it for whatever reason. I had a boredom issue, right? And I'm always by myself. So at that time when I was doing it, it was like to keep me awake so I could stay alert. Because I'm very observant of what happens in the street. You know what I mean? I'd rather not listen to the street, like the people talking, but just watch the street. You know what I mean? Because a lot of interesting things happen if the street talks to you. But at that time, when I got into housing, I had to deal with my addiction, because the maid at the time, he had an addiction that was way worse than mine. And it would turn into completely something different. And I was like, man, I do drugs. I'm supposed to be having fun, not getting crazy. Like, this is Jesus fucking Christ. You know what I mean? But I had to deal with mine because when I and him got together, he was doing better, different things. And there was no need for it. You see what I'm saying? And so I had to still deal with the go get help and have therapy, counseling, and all the stuff that's supposed to address the addiction or the craving. Because when you're frustrated with shit, that's the easiest thing to revert to. When you're frustrated with life, the way people treat you, blah, blah, blah. The first thing you want to do is either get high or get drunk, smoke a cigarette, right? And these are your vices because you can't just actively go set shit on fire, hurt anybody, do anything stupid. So you feel like, oh, I'll just disappear into a sack of drugs, or a bottle or something, anything that's going to calm me down so I don't act out. And it ends up becoming a real situation. But with MHCD and people, I don't know if I can say the ambiguous term, but Black people, even Mexican people, they don't want to deal with it, or they don't know how to deal with it. They'll actively say, I have privilege. I don't know what it's like to go through your situation. And that's what my psychotherapist said, the one who prescribes my actual medicine, because everybody has, I don't give a fuck what anyone says. No one in this fucking free world can go and say, I don't have a mental condition on any level.
Yeah, no
Somebody
shit.
has ADD, someone has ADHD, someone has depression, someone has manic bipolarism, somebody has something, right? No one can say they're impervious to it. And if they can, they're liars. They're a fucking liar because they have to have it. Everybody has some. If you live right now, in this day and age, you got some form of fucking depression or some sort of mania going on. So,
Or obsessive compulsive, you know. It's like sometimes people are obsessive with work and they're viewed as like good. And
right.
Yet the person who's obsessed with closing doors 5 times is, you know, but it's like, why it's not good to be obsessed with work either, and to be a workaholic and never be there for your family. Like, why is that acceptable? But other forms
narcissistic, when they weren't narcissistic when they were smaller teenagers, but all of a sudden as adults they're fucking narcissistic, or they're sociopaths, or whatever. How the world created that, and all of a sudden they're victimized, or they're penalized for it, right? Because they go to jail because they have a moment where they wild out, but they've been asking for help for months and nobody listens. Or all the people that committed suicide and they've been asking for help and asking for help and asking for help, and no one wants to pay attention to them. MAC, well, I didn't see it coming. Oh no, they saw it coming. Everybody seen it coming. Nobody just wanted to listen. Nobody wanted to take the time to fucking deal with it. So those people, we can't ask for help. But then we have Black therapists, right, that are actually there to supposed to be to help us. But their rates are so fucking high. Nobody could afford them, right?
Well, and the other thing is that the state of Colorado is blocking licenses from Black practitioners. There's only one Black midwife in the entire state of Colorado, y'all.
That's fucking ridiculous. Man, I know many Black women that could deliver a baby.
One Black midwife.
Crazy.
Fucking crazy. And that's DORA, the Department of Regulatory Agencies. We need to start it's big, y'all. So not only that, there's only one Black architect that has a contractor's license. And in the city of Denver, you have to have like 2 things, like a contractor's license A or something and a contractor's license something else. There's only one Black person who has that status. So that person is getting all the contracts. And guess who that person just so happens to be? The brother-in-law of Stacey Gilmore.
Oh, the brother-in-law. So Scott Gilmore's brother?
Another family-related individual. So when Stacey got into office, everybody got
nepotism.
a job. Right?
It is nepotism.
Got into office, everybody got a job.
And racketeering. Yep.
That's major motherfucking corruption. If we can be penalized for racketeering, everybody else should be able to too.
No shit. I mean, if people are getting fucking shot and killed and strangled for counterfeit dollar bills, why are the fucking or for selling cigarettes on the side of the sidewalk? Why are people dying for that? But fucking people at city council can pass an EHS contract where we just laid out the fraud in front of them. I mean, it was clear as day, and they're gonna pass these contracts. It's sick.
Yeah, it is.
Fucking prostitution.
It's sick. It really fucking is. And it's like, I'm just like, you know, white collar crime, quote unquote, it harms people in a way that people they write it off, and they act like people doing drugs in an encampment is worse than what they're doing over here with this contract with EHS. No, that person doing drugs in the open is not hurting people in the way that EHS is hurting people. I'm sick of this fucking double standard.
Nobody wants to do drugs in public. Okay, nobody wants to do drugs in public. I mean, look, if you stop taking their fucking tin away, they wouldn't do it in public.
No shit.
You know what I mean? It's like, but it's the police and the mayor and everybody who funds the drugs out there.
Just like they wouldn't piss all on the streets if they provided portable restrooms.
I was surprised about Hines bringing that up. Weren't y'all surprised about Hines bringing up the porta potties?
Yeah.
Performance art.
And then she admitted that the reason they don't have porta potties is because they don't want to encourage people experiencing homelessness. She admitted that that's why they don't do it. And it's like, you guys realize that is not what keeps people living in encampments, right? It's not that like they have access to a bathroom. No. I mean, women are getting assaulted walking to the bathroom at night. You know, why are we fucking doing this?
I go to the block. I have to have my cousin walk me to the restroom at Jurassic Park. You know what I mean? The only porta potty right there when they were all in the alley, and I had to. I'd be over there, you know, hanging out with them for like 3 days because I don't want to deal with shit at home or whatever.
Right.
And I would go out there, and I'd be like, "Hey, cousin, can you take me to the restroom?" And he'd be like, "Yeah." And there would be times where I would go to the restroom out there in at the one on Sunny Lawson Park, Jurassic Park, whatever we call it, Sunny Lawson Park, and it would be they would be so filthy in there that you walk in and there's shit all over the floor, you know, on the walls and shit. It's fucked up, right? So you don't even want to go in there. You're just like, oh fuck, I don't even want to go in there, right? So then there would be times where we, you know, I actively would have to use the restroom in an alley, right? And I would go pee in the alley. But I have to have my cousin walk me there because there's perverts and rapists out there that run freely, that know that the people that, you know, should be like controlling that area are not. And they're actively out there, so you're trying to use the restroom in a little corner, you're trying to hurry up and get it over with, you know, it's like forcing yourself to go real fast, so you just hurry up and go, you know, because you can't.
That's what we need to start talking about.
You can't go to the restroom. So motherfucker will come up behind you and try to rape you right then and there.
Oh my God. See, we need to start talking about the restroom issue from this perspective. That like it's not just
housed individual.
Right.
So if I have to go out there and I'm out there with my cousins, you know what I mean, and I tell them to come and be at my house while I go over there and watch their stuff, right? This is me doing it, right?
Right.
See me than fucking anybody else. And I have to use the restroom, right? I do it just like how they do it sometimes. And it is not a fucking comfortable feeling. So do you think that while these motherfuckers over there judging everybody, do you think they would be able to do it? What about leaving the fucking club and they have to be real bad all of a sudden before they go to the car and they're peeing right outside the car? Right. How many fucking gentrified people have I seen in the motherfucking club come out way
exactly?
I can't make it to the bathroom. Let me just stop right here. Pee right there.
I mean, Harmony's talked about how like she doesn't even have. She's been out with her kids, and they don't. You know, she's given public comment about like going out and not even having a place for her kids to go pee at the park. Like, why are we doing this to kids and to people who like just need to fucking pee, like, you know, like period. In LA, so I brought this to city council several months ago. We went to LA right after the Echo Park sweep. I don't know if y'all heard about Echo Park, but it was a big sweep in LA, and it was like the first sweep that they had done since the pandemic because they actually followed the CDC guidelines. And they did it at this park. Another case of gentrification, you know, like a bunch of NIMBY neighbors calling in. And we went there. We were there the day after the sweep, and we went around and we looked. And of course, there were cops standing around the fenced-in area, just like at Civic Center, and they were eating pizza off the back of their cars. I'm like, cool, this is what we're fighting them for. And we talked to this guy who showed us. We went around. He was a man who lived there for a long time, and he showed us all around like Skid Row and everything. We were asking him questions about, you know, the experience of, you know, being unhoused in LA and like how it compares to Denver. And he showed us these permanent bathrooms that are self-cleaning, and that they every 17 or 18 minutes they open up automatically. So whatever you're doing in there, you better be done in that amount of time, and they open up.
San Francisco.
Yeah.
What did you say?
California.
They have those in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Doing major things with the homeless. It doesn't look like it, but on the task force that you guys are on, they were on there like what 6-7 months ago talking about the
Well, there was a court order. There was a court order that said that they had to do that.
Yeah. California's doing major things with the homeless. It's not just they're not just letting them out, like leaving them out there. There's certain organizations that are working really fucking hard out there.
Well, and so listen to this. So I got on a fucking Zoom call that the governor was on. Okay, Governor Pontius Polis. Okay. And I saw him post about it on fucking Twitter, and I was like, oh my God, this is happening. Of course, they don't even tell us until an hour before because they don't want anybody on there. There were 90 media organizations, and it was a call with Secretary Fudge, who's the new HUD director, or who's the new Secretary of, or what is it, HUD? Yeah. She's in charge of housing for the federal government. And then it was with Maxine Waters, who is like is from California. She's a senator or representative, and she is in charge of like some housing committee, at the federal level. And it was with them, and then it was with the mayor of LA, the mayor of maybe like San Francisco or something, the mayor of Austin, and then a couple other ones, like maybe there's like Austin and then like one or two other places. Anyway, they're all talking about what they're doing in terms of housing. And fucking Polis gets up there. He goes like, he's one of the first people. Evan Dreyer and Hancock were on the call too. And there were 90 media outlets on this call, okay? And he gets up there and he starts bragging about like so they spent like $215,000 and housed like 90 people or some shit, okay? And we're all like, okay, cool, dude, that's all you have to say, like, to the Secretary of Housing that you've done? And then the fucking mayor of LA gets on and he's like, yeah, we just spent more money than we spent in the last 30 years, and we bought all these hotel rooms. And so they left the chat open to this Zoom, y'all. I don't even know how they did that, but they left the fucking chat open. So I'm in there typing away, being like, yeah, Mayor Hancock, this is what we need to do here in Denver. I'm posting like the message to the mayor video and the documentary and all this shit and the music video. And then Katie Blakey got to ask a question because I texted Katie and I was like, Katie, get on this call right now. You need to get on because we need some people in here. So she gets on and she asked some questions about how like the money is going to be spent and how we're going to make sure it doesn't go towards things like the sweeps, right? And so after that, not more than a week or two later, is when Diana DeGette fucking announces with fucking Mayor Hancock that they bought the hotel because the mayor of LA was saying that they had gotten all these hotels, and I'm in the chat being like, yeah, Mayor Hancock, this is what we need to do. I'm almost positive that fucking after that meeting, Diana DeGette was like, what the fuck is going on? Y'all just made me look so bad, and that's why they fucking bought the hotel. And so
what did they do with the stay-in?
With the what?
The stay-in.
What's the stay-in?
The travel lodge. The one on I-70.
Oh, the one that they said that they bought? Yeah. What's happening with that? I would love to know that too. Do y'all even know?
No, because that's what I was asking, because it just magically stopped being talked about. I mean, like, guys, $2 million they asked for like 3 times, and didn't they get it? I mean, to buy that hotel, and it's going to take like 3 years to fix it. I mean,
to make it actual housing. I know.
A shelter first, and then apartments.
Like a shelter first.
They're making it into like another one like this. And I was like, it's gonna take 3 years to clean out some rooms.
No shit.
You got to sweep, vacuum, and mop and paint, repaint.
But you had trash cans all over downtown for the MLB game in 13 weeks. It's like, for real.
Yeah.
And then they took all of them away. They took all the trash cans that they had out down here for the MLB game. They took them all away afterwards, y'all.
Of course they did.
How sick is that shit?
That's why, like, there's plans for all that good shit, man. I mean, I feel like this, like, in my opinion, right? I wanted to start out with my opinion. In my opinion, if the government can't act right, then the people got to show them. But we can't let them take credit, capitalize, or any of that shit off of what the people show them that it's possible to do with the money and resources they already have.
It's like Jerryville.
Exactly.
Yes, just like Jerryville.
Just like Jerryville.
Yep.
Except utilizing the resources that are already out there.
I just want to say this. That set the template for all safe outdoor camps, tiny home villages, any other attainable alternative means of housing. That was the template.
I just want to ask this question. What's going on is there an active SOS camp over there on at the Peoria station where the Samaritan house is? because, Salvation Army, the big Salvation Army, where I was today, right?
That's Aurora.
That is Aurora?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever. I just want to know if that's an active one because they had these.
Wait, which one?
At the Peoria station, right next to the Peoria station, there's the Salvation Army. Big building.
Let's talk about the Salvation Army for a second.
Fuck them.
Fuck them. They've got to go. They've got to go. They are treating people like fucking shit. That's who was running this place where we went up to meet Frank, and he walks up with his gun, and they are fucking I don't know how. In 2017, they had a budget of $4.1 billion, y'all. And they're considered a church, so they don't pay any taxes. And so and yet only 17% of people even graduated from their work programs. Right. It's just slave labor, literally. They're just getting people out of jail and saying, oh yeah, we'll just they can, as part of their probation, they're going to have to work for the Salvation Army. And they're literally just getting free labor from these programs and capitalizing.
The only thing I can say positive about them is that when I was younger, I used to ring the bells at Christmas time. I ain't gonna lie, I did it for like 4 years, right? Because that was like one of my favorite things to do. Just sit there and ring the bell all day outside of Target. You know what I mean?
Well,
but
we can find a bell and a different program than the Salvation Army to do that.
They paid me like $8 an hour at the time, and then
that's actually a lot.
I thought that was a lot. You know what I
think it is.
It was like my fucking thing. It was like my thing to do. I couldn't wait for Christmas. I love Christmas, right? But that was something I could do. I could be outside. I like to watch people come out of the stores and shit, like they bought stuff. It's just a happy little experience I never got to have when I was little. So, right. There was times where they would at the time I was a young mother. Mm-hmm. So the only good thing I could say is that part they would do like a Christmas giveaway where they would give you all the single mothers out there would stand in line for hours and we get to pick like 4 gifts. But that was 4 gifts we couldn't afford to give our own fucking children.
This is what they do.
Good thing. But I don't know what they do lately because all I've seen them do is when the winter time came, Salvation Army and Rescue Mission, well, Salvation Army was over there by the crossroads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is it called? Arkans. They call it. Y'all call it Arkans.
Yeah, the one that's in. You can see it in the video from the sweep, like that, or the documentary, right? That what's his name, who was getting the burritos and he was arrested or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And he was staying there.
Yeah. Well, we call it on the street. We call it the crossroads, right?
Okay.
And that's why I said, what do y'all call it? You call it Arkans, right? Well, at that time, it was wintertime just recently, that last winter. They came into D-Hole and they were sitting there listening to the whole meeting, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting with him and they were giggling. I'm giggling anyway, trying to make him laugh. He was paying attention, right? As usual. And dude, there was a man on our side of the lane. He was like, it's a young man. Was that? That was Ellen, right? I thought it was Ellen. Might have been Ellen. All right. Well, anyway, shout out to Ellen. He was like, where can I go for the night? Can I go there for the night? Since they were there promoting, the cross or the Salvation Army right there, right? And dude, the white man that was there, he didn't want to answer, right? And so after the meeting, I was like, so what's up? You gonna take this guy with you?
Mm-hmm.
You'll put him in the car and take him with you to the shelter? Because that's where you said you're going.
Yeah.
He's like, oh no, we don't have enough space. You got to be there early. Well, good to know now, sir, right. Because he's been asking you he asked you like 3 times, and then as soon as the meeting's over and you were trying to chop it up with Jesse or whatever, I'm over there like, hey, so what's going on? You got to take this guy with you? Like that, like you got to take him with you so he can go into the shelter overnight? And he's like, no.
These arbitrary rules.
Just fucking lied. You just said you were there to help people.
You were there to help. Yep.
That's the Wednesday homeless meeting, man. At Deborah was out loud at that time. I was like, what are you doing? Like, I'm here like a fucking little hood detective. Like, what are you doing? Like, come on now. Are you serious? You're not gonna take it? And I asked her, I was like, are you serious? You're not gonna take him with you?
It's like what are you?
Found out that what's her face had a car. Here, Anna had a car. That was say that. I think I was like, "You're not gonna give us a ride?"
Well, it's just it's like what is really going on when the shelter that says that they want to help people experiencing homelessness is actually funding the anti 300 campaign and funding people, the criminalization of homelessness. It's like they're just trying to continue to make sure that they have that there's a need for them, just like the police are doing. They both are using homelessness to profit and to remain relevant and to remain a necessity. If you are a homeless provider, one of the requirements should be that you're in the business to go out of business, right? That should be a requisite, that eventually you want your services to no longer be needed, not to continue to perpetuate homelessness so that you can stay in business as a charity that is just squandering and stealing from people.
And that goes into with the people on the street. They're like, we can't get a sleeping bag or a tent out here right now to save our lives. This has been going on for at least a month, right? And I'm like, I've been asking the question, like, well, when I'm out there, I'm out there, I'm actually homeless at that time, because I usually leaving my house because I don't want to fight with my brother or something stupid like that.
Mm-hmm,
so at that moment, I just grab my shit and I just go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at that, I'm literally homeless for like 3 motherfucking days, right? Like, so that means I didn't come with no money. I didn't come with no fucking resources. The only thing I came with, when I got on the street the first time, said this time, all I came with is my chair and my little backpack that holds my wallet and my stupid shit, and obviously probably my machete. Okay, that's what I came outside with every fucking time. And every time I'm outside, because I'm so conditioned to be outside, I feel like I don't have it. I feel like the housing shit doesn't exist because it's bullshit. All these programs are set up to fail. I'm a product of the fucking failure of CCH program. I am fucking pure product of their failure. So much that I had to go and take another voucher with another.
Well, we just gave. Did you know that tonight we just passed? Tonight. Speaking of this, being a product of the failure of them.
Yeah.
Tonight we just passed millions more. This just they didn't even talk about this at the meeting, y'all. Did you see the agenda? Go look at the agenda for tonight for the meeting. They just gave tens of millions of dollars to Salvation Army, CCH, and they didn't even have a fucking hearing about it.
No.
Again, this is like fucking what? The fifth time this year?
Yep.
Just like they were expecting to do with this EHS contract, just like
Yep.
they were to do with the
Are you
core
serious,
civic
man?
contract.
This is the fourth time this year. And
Yeah.
3 of those times, we helped, thought that was a fucking great idea, and fucking try to go along, try to do the right thing, right? And only to turn out that they wooed us and lied to the people, and obviously, whatever, talking to the buddy, whatever. We already know what the fuck they're doing, because I was like, oh no. That's when I went on this active campaign out in the street telling the truth. Like, oh man, city council, they're all lying. It's all lies. All lies. Let me tell you what's really happening. They want to kill you off. They want to kill us off. They want to starve us out. They want to fucking make it so unbearable that we have no choice but to die, okay? At some point. Die or go to jail. These are your fucking options,
The life expectancy we were looking at because of Wolf, the life expectancy is it's
first of all,
42 to 52 for a person experiencing homelessness. That number is 78 for a housed person, y'all. That's the difference. And
there's also a difference of 13 years between living in Commerce City and living in Cherry Creek.
13 years off of someone's life because of the environmental racism that's happening because of Suncor. And Suncor then will fund these boys and girls clubs and shit, just like you were saying about the
environmental racism that fucking that funds other shit. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, but then you don't pay attention that your kid has a bloody nose every day, and everybody in your family dies of fucking cancer by 40.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then there was a time when they were like, Denver was trying to sweep out the people, push them somewhere, and they were trying to push them right over there to that area.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
By the river.
On purpose. Right?
Well, look at what they're doing with GES right now with the arena. What do you think the arena is going to do, y'all? Guess where it's going to push people? Towards Commerce City. That's what it's going to do.
Right.
And so, and that's what they're trying to do right now. And I cannot handle this fucking
out there for those people that live out there so close to that shit.
My friend Lucy, I have 3 friends who all live in Commerce City. They're all actually running. I'm calling them the trifecta. Y'all have to support them. It's Lucy Molina, Renee Chacon, and Christy Douglas. And they're all running for city council. And they're fucking badasses. And Lucy Molina, for Commerce City. Y'all need to join their pages and stuff and support them. They're the trifecta. They're fucking amazing. And they're very close friends of mine. But the other thing that I was going to say is y'all also have to join the No Bull. It's called No Bull, No Arena Bond. It's the opposition. Yeah. It's the opposition campaign. Yeah.
Okay. I thought that was a flyer. I ain't gonna lie. I thought that was a flyer like somebody made up just talk shit.
It's a group. No, it's a group.
Okay, it's a group. Okay, good.
Yeah, and they're badass. And so we need to start definitely getting behind them more too, because shout out to them. Shout out to their so Jared, who did who was the one who like filmed and produced the documentary, the most recent one. His wife is working on that, is one of the people that like is organizing that campaign. So anyway, just to give you some background on people, but that campaign we need to amplify.
I learned so much, man, from like watching this shit with Jesse, because I was one of those people that now go out there and tell people about the city council shit, you know what I mean? Like actively.
Oh, speaking of,
I didn't know any of this stuff until me and Jesse got together and I sat here and actually helped him and watched him and all this stuff. But I learned more about politics now than I did back then, and then I realized that everything is political.
Everything. The personal and the personal is political. The political is personal.
Exactly. It's really fucking weird. But then I was like, and the people haven't uprose yet. Why? Then take this shit down.
Because the streets are meant to keep people down.
It is a fucking system, a revolving door.
They're raids. Call them what they are. They're raids.
Yeah,
they're raids. Oh, I love it.
Just like in jail. I was telling Jesse like that. I said, okay, yeah, you are putting it like that. That's exactly what it is. I said, just like in jail, it's a motherfucking shakedown. When they come in there randomly, like 30 motherfucking pigs deep, and everybody's like scrambling, they come in there, toss your cell, and walk out. Okay? That's what they do. They come, toss your cell, and walk out, right? And they trigger off that relationship. But this is exactly what happened. Oh, okay. Well, that could be good.
No, I'm just laughing.
Everybody's over there writing the fucking pipe of prostitution paperwork and propaganda. That could happen. But what I'm saying is, no, they toss their cell, like their cell block.
Yes.
Yeah. They come and toss that. They come and toss it. So it's the same shit, right? Except they're not doing it indoors.
Yep.
They're coming out to the tent.
5 a.m. These are raids.
They are raids.
So when they come at 5 a.m. or 4:30, sometimes they sneak over there. They start fucking people, putting up the fence all quiet and shit. Threatening individuals. When they come at that time, right? Those are raids. They come, shake shit up, and then they dip, and then they come back and clean it up. Allegedly,
from the city
but they
there.
don't.
It's only EHS.
The fucking where's MHCD? Man, I was out there.
Shit.
I had my own personal situation, right? And I needed them because I could tell when I flipped out. Sometimes I could tell, right? And I was like, oh my god, man, I can't keep making fucking news media right now. I'm feeling like this. I'm feeling kind of triggered. I got the trigger alert going on, right? So I had to go fucking find Officer Wilson, right? Because I didn't know he was there, and I didn't know the other ones really, because I don't fuck with them. Now, I was like, I'm having a situation. I'm an active I'm an active client of MHCD, and I'm having a personal crisis, man. Where are they? Aren't they supposed to be here? Shouldn't I be able to walk up to fucking Caitlin or whoever the fuck her name is? Shouldn't I be able to walk up to her and talk to her? I need to talk to somebody because I'm having a situation, right? Because, normal people are not going to be afraid to say, I have problems, you know what I mean? So, anyways, transparent is just going to be like, man, fuck it. It's already out there. Everybody fucking knows. I got issues, right? That I was having a crisis. I needed help.
But
right?
they're never
fucking there. I proved that. right? I proved that. So can you imagine what other people out there who don't have the like I was in between therapists, right? Because MACD has the highest turnover rate. Oh yeah, it's serious. They're always they're always
Hold on,
quitting.
there's a bad
I went through like 4 to 6 right now so far, right? This year. At least 4 or 6.
4 to 6 just this year.
4 or 6 therapists.
Oh my god.
And all of them have said they don't know how to, they can't relate. They don't deal with mixed or black issues.
And the one she gets is a straight up white supremacist.
Right. To supply my medicine, they're supposed to help me sleep because when you have mania like this, ADD, you can't rest. You don't even have to be high. I could be up just bullshitting around for hours.
Me too.
That noise.
Doing nothing but reading and watching movies and just fucking off, playing on Facebook, listening to music, just fucking off, dude, because I can't fucking get my brain to simmer down, right? So they have to provide something to help me sleep because if not, after like 5 days, I'm like, all right, it's everybody can get it day, you know what I mean? And I'm a whole different person. So I had to have this help, right? Because I'm a normal individual. I don't got no shame in my shit. I got to get some help sometimes, right? And at this time, I actually was looking for, because first of all, where the fuck are they? I see this broad walk away from serious situations when the fucking homeless are getting swept. But when there's a crisis of some sort, right? Where the fuck are they? They're not ever there. So I was proving it. I was like, and so I talked to him thinking it was gonna be a discreet conversation. He was just gonna go make a phone call and come right back. Oh no, he goes and makes a phone call. He had, what was it, the chief, right? Somebody, I don't know. He had a big hat on, and it wasn't a regular police guy. He had the hat, right? And he comes over with the other guy, and then MHCD shows up like 20 minutes later. After I'm like, oh man, why the fuck you call the police on me again? Like who did this? You know, goddamn fucking Wilson again. I thought, she keep trying to give you a chance, man. Right? But he was like, we're here to talk. We're here to stand with the dude from MHCD, who I never seen before, but you know he was just happened to be on call that day, right? But they're here to. That was like to protect him. No, he was just a regular therapist that comes out on the field. But I don't know who the fuck he was. All I told him was, I'm in between therapists and I'm having a situation, and I felt extremely triggered right now at this situation because something that happened during the sweep that fucking fucked me up, and it just made it worse, right? And I didn't think I was gonna be able to drive home without cussing somebody out for real, like real bad. So I was like, man, maybe I should get some help. I was in between therapists because MACD can't either pay them correctly, treat them well, or anything. They have them doing so much work that they can't even take care of themselves mentally, right? So I've had some that are doing disgruntled acts, right? They get fired or they have to move on. Nobody tells me. So when it comes time for me to go and actually get help for whatever the fuck I need, even a fucking therapy session, I couldn't. I had to wait and wait and wait. And then they replace somebody and then I have to wait again and wait again and wait again, right? And so I was in between like a fucking 3 to 4 month period where I had and I was starting to wonder if it was me. Like, is it my problems? Like they don't want to help me no more. And all of a sudden they quit. Did I do it? Like, you know what I mean? Because that's what it makes you feel like. They're not capable. Their turnover rate is fucking bad. And not only that, but people who like a routine or like a regular person, just that one person they talk to, they don't like the change up. You know what I mean? It fucks with them. I'm a person like that. I don't want to talk to one person this week, and this is your job. And then next thing you know, I got to talk to a different person and a different person, and all in the same fucking position. I'm gonna start wondering.
You have to go back over all the trauma over and over.
Over and over again. It's just so to catch them up, right? And I was like, God, man, I'm never gonna get well. And I think about all the people who are put up in like state institutions, right? That they weren't actually that bad off. They might have had some little moments where they were kind of like they were on the verge, but life got so heavy, and they kept asking for help. And finally, they just fucking wild out eventually, and that's the only way they could get help. Wow. And now they're like zombies to the medicine that are forced upon them, or else, you know what I mean? And that's the way to control people. They want, like, for example, Seroquel, right? You take a dose of Seroquel, right? Take a dose, one dose, right? Some say 200 milligrams is not that high. Some would say that it is. Some would say it's a whole bunch of shit. But let's just say that, right? And that one Seroquel that you have to take for rest could knock you out for damn near 2 whole days. Just 2 whole days. You get up and you just automatically feel groggy, back to sleep. And you stay asleep for another 8 hours. Get up, back to sleep. You know what I mean? It could actively keep you like that if you're manicky and shit for like 2 whole days or a day and a half. You could be sleeping that shit, right? And it's to control you. Everything's to simmer you down, control you, so you're able to be dealt with because you're too much. You know what I mean? So they want to simmer you down, and then you end up becoming a zombie and a slave to that fucking medicine, which is like kind of opiate-ish, I would say. You know what I mean? Because it totally takes that manicky shit away, right? But it also puts me in a zombie mode where I can't fucking take care of myself. You see what I'm saying? I don't even know if I'm still breathing.
Wow.
My brother had to checks on me because I only take that when I know I should go to sleep and I have 2 whole days to dedicate to it. Okay? But that shit is fucking scary, right? At the lowest dose. Could you imagine all the medicine they give people to simmer the crazy? We'll just put it that way, right? Calm it down. You got them on lithium. You don't take enough water with lithium, your brain kind of starts seizing up. It's almost like it dries out all of a sudden. All of a sudden it doesn't work anymore. And you start having seizures and weird shit happens. When you don't drink enough water with lithium, I don't even know what lithium's for anymore. Because I was just like, God, man, why do they keep me crying? Like, for real, when I first started with MACD for me has been like a lifelong thing because I'm a product of the system. So I've seen them go through all kinds of phases since I started with MACD and Aurora, or when I went into the system, or before I went into the system as a little girl. So I've seen the fucking changes of fucking MACD, and as an adult woman, it has gotten by steadily fucking a lot worse. A lot fucking worse. Now they just won't even fucking accept you. They make it difficult for you to get an appointment. You can't even get into the doctors like yourself.
9 months.
Intake is 9 months. The waiting list is fucking forever. You can't even go inside. Like, I'm in North Aurora. You can't go into an MACD walk-in clinic. You can't. And the clinic that you can walk into that's on Colorado, the like an emergency 24-hour walk-in one, the one you go in there,
13.
Right right before I became homeless, and I was trying to avoid that situation. Right, I was really trying to avoid that situation. I had a psychotic break, right, and I went in there and I was feeling I was psychotic, but I was like whatever. But then it's like one and two, right? Then you feel suicidal, and I was having those kind of feelings, and I went in there to talk to them. You know what they did? This is what they did. They give you like, hey, you want something to eat? Okay. Then you swallow it. Okay. Cup of noodle. You want a soda? Sure. Right? Why don't you sit right here? Here's the remote. Right? So then you're watching TV and you get stuck in whatever the fuck you're watching because it's cable, so you can watch whatever, right? So you catch it up on shows. You've been in there 3-4 hours kicking back on a lazy boy. All of a sudden they keep coming. So do you still feel that way? And you're like, well, goddamn, yeah. Well, what do you want to do about that? Well, what can I do about that? Well, do you feel like you need to be admitted or committed? For what? Well, yeah, I've been admitted for like 3 days so I can get my medicine, right? No, I'll be like 14. Are you good with that? Well, what's going to happen after I get out? Well, I mean, what were your plans right now? Like that, right? You're like, well, I was planning on going to the Samaritan House. This is me, right? They're like, well, you can either go to the Samaritan House tonight or you can get, you can go into our 14-day restabilization program, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, what? Because I've been in one of those situations, so I know that sometimes 14 days isn't enough because I don't take meds. I'm a motherfucking yeah, it's okay. I'm a motherfucking cognitive or CBT DBT class person. So that means if you're on your shit, there you go. That means if you're on your CBT DBT therapies and you have the right therapist that's trained in that type of shit, you don't need to take the medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Those people, they have to be on my CBT, DBT therapy with an actual psychotherapist, and I won't have to take anything. I could actually learn how to soothe myself to rest normally like a regular person, right? And or manage my ADD, calm down, simmer down on my own, right? Or my coping skills, right? So the last fucking year, I'm telling MACD, my coping skills are off. I need help. I can't self-soothe myself right now anymore. Everything's so heavy. I like blah 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 blah. I'm asking for a whole year, if not a little longer. I've been telling him my fucking coping skills. Because coping skills is the same thing that leads back into drug use and drinking, right? So I don't want to go back into that shit, right? So I have to work on. I have to have the right things. If you keep telling them the right things, they give you the opposite of the right things. Meaning, you keep telling them, I need this, and I need this, and I don't want to take your medicine. All of a sudden, you're back to taking medicine. You see what I'm saying? And their mind is in the hands of a motherfucking mad scientist, and just shaking up the crazy even more, and shaking up the addiction even more like a snow globe. And then people wonder why this happened, and this happened. But it's because our brain isn't in safe hands. Our mental stability, our emotional stability isn't in stable hands of their own. They're on another fucking type of agenda that we don't know about. You know what I mean? Those people just I'm gonna sit here. They don't even take notes anymore. They don't. They come to my fucking crib whenever I fucking let them come to my crib. It's been like 3 weeks because I'm tired of this shit. Once the motherfucking the medicine doctor said he couldn't talk to me about my Black issues, okay, right? My issues with colorism or whatever the fuck I was in there talking about. He didn't want to talk about it because he couldn't relate. He said his privilege didn't afford him that, right? And so I came home and I was tripping. I act like this is my house too sometimes. But I came back here and I was tripping. I was like, man, I think I called him. I said, do you know that Mike said that because he has privilege, he can't understand what it's like to have Black issues and be able to discuss it appropriately. But if I feel like, anytime I feel triggered or there's a problem, go ahead and call 911.
This was the same Mike that was surprised I'd never been to prison.
Same one.
Stop it.
And I'm like, what are you thinking? Like every richly melanated or darker skinned individual is just automatically out there committing mass motherfucking crimes that they've been locked up fucking 10 times. Maybe there is people that have not done any of that shit. You know what I mean? I've been to jail fucking more than like what, a week or so. It might have been there for whatever fucking stupid ass tiny ass fucking reason, but it's nothing as much as like certain other individuals that get in all kinds of trouble. And I was like, come on, man. Like, for real. He was like, that's shocking. I think he said that was shocking.
Yeah.
Like that. I was like, no, this is shocking. Like, I can't believe, like, because I'm looking at him like, for real, you're there to help me talk about some serious shit.
White supremacist.
Right. There's a lot of that going on. I was like, dude, and when he fucking told me that for real, I was like, I couldn't believe he said that out loud. But second, it only caused me to believe something like that I never would have thought I would have said out loud, because I've been dealing with MACD since I was a little girl, right? And I never thought I would say it out loud. I was like, oh, these motherfucking supremacists over there playing mind games. So if everybody thinks I'm crazy, it's because they want you to stay crazy.
Yeah.
They want you to stay crazy, and while you're on Medicaid. Think about that. You're on Medicaid, so the state is continuously paying them to keep you crazy. You know what I mean? And taxpayers are paying that. Everybody's getting paid to keep you fucking crazy. If you're allegedly crazy, you could just be psychic. You know what I mean? But they're saying you're crazy. You could just be psychic. You could be a fucking medium. It doesn't mean you're actually fucking crazy. And that was my case. I wasn't actually crazy. Actually fucking psychic. You know what I mean? Well, in a giant age, I'm 41. So when I was younger, that psychic shit wasn't really like acceptable. Okay. So I grew up in that age where it was
now
like
for
that.
your free reading.
Yeah, no, that was an acceptable thing. That was looked at as something else. Where nowadays it's like a very acceptable thing. My mama said because I was psychic, right? My mother said I was crazy, and that I had to go get therapy. I didn't know I was psychic. I didn't know. Now that's what it is. But she said I was crazy and I needed help, and so she got me in there. That I got a sister, right? So I had been in there for the same fucking stupid conditions I got now, right? That's terrible shit.
Yeah.
A fucking
it's terrifying to think about. Wait, there's a really bad echo, y'all.
Probably because I'm talking too close. I don't hear it on our
No, it's just when I say something.
Oh, that's on your end then.
Well, no, because I'm hearing it as feed from. Let me see. Oh, it's a little better, maybe. Do y'all both have your phones up or something, or
My phone's dead.
No,
or
just
like
my
two
phone.
ways?
Oh, it's Jesse.
It wasn't doing it earlier.
It's always you.
Freaking weird. Maybe it is me. Well, anyway, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but you know, I think about like the number of people who, when they had these mental institutions, that like sat and were imprisoned in there for having psychic abilities, and were, you know what I mean, and all the people, like when people hear voices and stuff, and people say that it's like, you know, you have schizophrenia. I'm like, what if schizophrenia is just psychic?
Yeah, it's really strange because, you know,
like not all of it, but I mean,
like that, and I have a disorder that's like right off of that, right? But I would also say this, that not, if we want to go with the crazy line, right, that they want to push on us, then they're making it worse, okay? Because they put these stimulants out there to trigger that. You know what I mean? Everybody, if you've lived outside of the street, been to jail, been anywhere of fucking traumatic fucking anything, you're gonna have PTSD no matter what, right? But for people like me, that look, there's not there were it back in then when my mother didn't believe in shit like that, and my, you know, whatever. I said she's a villain, but she didn't believe in anything like that. It in like in the early '90s, it wasn't so fucking readily acceptable anybody to fucking be actively reading tarot or fucking psychic anything, right? So I just happen to, we always talk about vibrate high, like my vibrations are high, you know what I mean? Like I'm like a different individual, right? But it happens, you know, it just happens to be something you can either look at as a curse or a blessing, right? Depending how you want to look at it. I didn't realize that, right? I didn't know like how I know it now. But back then I would just go with, okay, my mama said this and that's why I'm here, right? But in my mind, I'm like, I'm looking at everybody, they're looking at me like, well, you hear this or you see that or you feel that, or, you know, you're just a fucking weirdo. You're actively fucking crazy, which you know what I mean? And it's not that. And even if it was, they're making it worse. A lot of things are making it way worse. That would trigger, you know, like not just a psychic event, but would trigger like something sleepy inside. You wild out. You just start acting out of sorts. Like you're not acting like yourself. You're not behaving. I don't mean to say acting. You're not behaving like yourself. You know what I mean? You're not behaving like yourself. You're kind of like different all of a sudden, or your natural personality. Like when some people like being mad, or they're mad and they're comfortable, right? They're comfortable in that feeling. It's probably something that they had their whole life, and then they put on, like, because you're not supposed to be angry all the time in public. You're not supposed to be raging. You're not supposed to be doing all this stuff, right? So you put on a motherfucking face of like happy, da 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 da, blah blah blah, right? And so when you're triggered and you finally can't control yourself, you finally can't control what you've been pretending, like pretending you're happy, whatever. You finally can't control it, and they see the real you. The real you is like, man, you know, whatever, and comfortable in it. They look at that as crazy, and they promote that too. They prevent. It's like a revolving door, just accepting your fucking. They're highlighting your shames, profiting off your shames, your discomforts, your embarrassments, your things that was put out there for you to get, either addicted to, hooked on, or fucking lost in, right? And they're just fucking with you. They're promoting it. They're getting money for it, and then they want to, oh, we want to help you. No, you don't. You can't help somebody like that, because at the end of the day, they're on a fucking agenda. They're on an agenda. They're on a fucking money fucking seeking option. They're trying to pump the fucking state for it, whatever. You know what I mean? It's always something. And what they're doing is they're just shaking the fucking brain. It's like a snow globe. They're just fucking everybody up more and more and more. And then they wonder why people want to just self-soothe or try to, you know, they wonder. And they don't actually wonder. They already have the answers. But they pretend to wonder. They pretend to question.
They pretend they care.
They pretend they're gonna do something or care about it, and in reality, they ain't done shit. In the whole fucking 9 months that I've been watching this shit go down for real, like actually paid attention, right? What has MHCD really accomplished? And where are the motherfucking outreach people with the needles and shit?
And
like
these people that get on and give public comment. And they they talk about, like, first of all, they fucking say the most stereotypical, discriminatory shit.
Hold on, Tess. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. We're gonna have to end our program in like 5 minutes. Go ahead, go.
Okay. No, this will be real quick. I was just gonna say, speaking of what you're saying about like what has been accomplished, I would love to know that as well. I'd also love to know how these people can claim when they get on there and they talk about the sweeps, and they talk about how, oh, we need EHS because we have to get rid of these illegal encampments and these people who are these drug addicts and all this shit. They talk about all this fucking bullshit, discriminatory shit, and then they're like, I care. Then they try to claim that they care about people in the encampments and that they are the ones who actually care the most about them. And I'm like, the audacity.
Come late at night and torture the homeless people, though. You know what I mean? They're the same ones that come late at night and walking up and down the alleys and shit, talking about they're gonna set fire to those tents, or how come they don't just die. I think I heard that right when I was in the alley like 4 times, easily. Why don't they just die?
And who are the people? Are these the homeowners?
Yeah, everybody in that little area that lives in
the Golden Triangle, the residents, the white residents who get on.
You can tell the difference between the homeless people that are housed right there by the Stout Street Clinic in the apartments that are like, for them, right? And the gentrified people that are more up on Welton. Okay.
Yeah.
You could tell in the area like Park and Stout and all that shit. You could tell their mannerisms and behaviors from the apartment people, from the street people. They got to go into housing right there at like the Renaissance or whatever the fuck they're called, right there by Stout Street Clinic, right? And the ones that live over on Welton and down.
Yeah.
You could tell there's a major fucking difference. So when they come into alleys and they come on our sidewalks and shit, they say, "Oh, I'm still, I'm fucking homeless at least 3 times a week." So when you come out there, are the ones that walk by the tents late at night and they're like, say stupid shit like, "I wish they would die," or "Look how they live," or "Look at all this trash," or "It smells bad down here," or whatever the fuck they say. Those are the ones that come and speak on public comment. Public comment. Those are the same ones that take time out of their busy Wednesday, Thursday night to come down there.
What time do they come in?
I've seen it come like midnight, between midnight and 4 o'clock.
Okay.
It's definitely before daylight. It's definitely before 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's certain times when I'm out there and I might have been watching my cousin's tent, but I couldn't rest because there's so much fighting and shit going on the street right now because of the stupid blue pills that the police put out there. People are turning into major fucking monsters out there late if they don't get it. Like
we've been seeing it too.
And so the fighting late at night is all fucking night long, right? So even if you wanted to go to sleep, you couldn't go to sleep because it's just homeless people beefing about stupid shit over a fucking pill, right? Over a pill, and they're so loud and so aggressive because that's how it is out there right now. with people stealing from each other and whatnot. But then the fucking supply of the being supplied the drugs out there and the non-accessibility to money and shit, meaning they're gonna do more crime, get them locked up. They're gonna be doing more drugs to get them picked up. It's like constant. So
Right.
for them, you can't sleep. You're listening to that shit all night, even if you don't want to look at it. You're listening to it, right? But then you got the homeless people. You got the homeless people put up in. It's actually, if you drive around late at night, you don't really see too many homeless people outside of their tents, that's another lie. They're usually inside. If they're outside like in travel, like from one block to the next, or they're out there getting supplies, or they're probably out there doing whatever it says they're doing, but they're not outside very long. You know what I mean? So you can't just say, oh, well, fucking so-and-so 3 tents on this block was outside hanging out for 4 fucking hours. That would be a lie. You probably say, I saw him over here, and over here for like 45 minutes. And he was put up somewhere else. He went inside a tent. He went inside of a fucking box. He went inside somewhere, right? So they be lying. They're always lying. You know what I mean? That's why I was like, I'm calling that shit out. Motherfuckers that come late at night, usually, like, I was homeless for like 5 years. So I would see people come from the fucking club and try to urinate on homeless people from behind the wall on the Samaritan side. The brick wall?
Yeah.
The homeless people are on the sidewalk, and they would come walk back behind inside the back gate area before they had put that fence and shit in there. They would come in the back gate, think they're gonna go peeing, right? Because they're drunk from the club, knowing that when they parked their car, they passed all the homeless people, right? Then all of a sudden they're drunk and they forgot. Goes to the wall and try to urinate over the wall to hit the homeless people. You see what I'm saying? And they were, sorry, I didn't know you were there. Right? Get in their car, drive around, and start shooting off a gun. And then they would be like, oh, well, we don't know who did it. Well, obviously, street people aren't going to fucking tell anybody, right? But right there in that motherfucking area is like 20 cameras. And 4 of them are fucking Halo cams. Right there in that area. Right there between fucking Rescue Mission and Samaritan House at the time. Right? Not to mention all the cameras on the buildings of Samaritan House. When I first had to go to the Rescue Mission, I never had an ID down there. All I had to do was give them my birthday. I didn't even have to give them my name. They already knew my name to get an ID. And I was like, ooh. Like, you're not fucking fuck up over here. In my mind, when I was homeless, because I never got, when I went into Samaritan House, you didn't get no motherfucking ID. I was in there on the overflow. But when they physically had to move me from the Samaritan House to the Rescue Mission, I had to go. I thought that was just for men only. You know what I mean? But I had to go in there to get an ID so I could go in there and have breakfast or whatever fucking raggedy ass shit that they feed us. They feed them. I don't know what they're doing now, but that time it was fucking horrible shit. That I had to have an ID, and they were like, well, what's your birthday? At the time, my birthday pulled me right the fuck up. I mean, I know my birthday might be common. I mean, I know at least 6 April Fool's babies in the state of Colorado. But come on now. You didn't even ask me my name or even a first name, not even the last name, any name. You just automatically knew who I was. And that's how it always is. St. Francis, same shit. I never had an ID. I went in there one time to use the restroom, and they arrested me the same motherfucking day. They come back out talking about, when I get out of jail, eventually, then they come and say, hey, you know what, Miss Majors, you're on the list for an apartment. What? Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. And I had to accept it, right? Because I thought it was a fucking trick, and they were just going to fucking arrest me again, right? Because that's just usually what fucking happens. So I was like, no. And I never used them vouchers. I had like 2 fucking vouchers for like fucking 4 years.
People never talk about that as being why people don't accept the vouchers. That's a really good point.
Yeah, because they come out of jail and all of a sudden they got one. And it says, let's say they feel like it's a trap. I just got out of here. I've only come in here to use the restroom or eat, but all of a sudden now that I need an apartment. So now you're ready to sit down with me? right? And you come on now, you never just actively pointed me out before, but as soon as I come out of jail, now somebody wants to talk to me, and that's how it happened. That's how it happened. I was like, oh no, this is not this. When did I ever want to get Brandy anything, man? Never. I was like, this is a trap. This is a fucking trap. Maybe this is because of the way I had him arrest me. You know, like I'm just thinking about it. Like maybe because I gave him a heart. Well, this is a fucking trap. This is a fucking trap. And so I didn't take it. Right? And then when I got sick and I was in there for like the hospital for like 97 days, again I had to do that. What is it called? Yes for that. Yes for that, right? And it's the most vulnerable. As I was like, it's the most vulnerable test. Like they want to know how vulnerable you really are. Yeah, like you're a felon, you got bad credit, you only have a 5th grade education, disabled, you've been to jail more than 30 times, whatever. You can't keep an apartment to save your life.
Where you slept last night,
right? Where you sleep last night, and all of a sudden you rate a certain time. I don't even remember the numbers. I was like, they didn't accept it then. Okay, and all of a sudden, then they want to accept it, or then they want to come out of nowhere like, look, man, you finally got approved of blah blah blah, or we're gonna, or for me in my case, how it happened was COVID, right?
That's how Frank got it too.
Yeah, I got a heart condition. I can't be outside because at that time it was wintertime, right? So I couldn't really be outside because I didn't have a way to. Tents freeze on the inside, right? They collect.
And then when they steal propane tanks,
right? They could that. I didn't even have one. I know how to do a little fire with a candle, right? But that's beside the point. The point is that a Coleman tent will collect ice on the inside of the tent from the condensation of the person, right? So while you're laying up against the fence or the tent, you're laying in not only your own condensation, your sweat or whatever, just because you're trying to stay warm, you're going to be breathing hard. It's snow. All you see is your own air in the snow, right? So instead of just your own fucking condensation be what kills you in the inside of your own fucking tent, because it's freezing on the inside as well. So not only are you trying to stay warm, but then you're doing drugs, right? Or then you get hot, then you get the fucking tent gets all of a sudden condensated. Let's just say condensated. I don't even think that's a word. It gets wet.
I don't know what to say there, but right? That sounds good.
And it freezes because eventually, you're gonna end up wanting to go to sleep because it's too fucking cold. That's what happens. People go to sleep and they go cold. Yeah, winter's coming, and you could die in there because you move around trying to stay warm, get up against the fucking the skin of the tent, and the ice right there will start to freeze you out. Your blankets get wet. Everything's wet. You can't stay dry inside of a regular tent unless you use cardboard on the inside of the tent, and you sleep under the cardboard in the tent. That's the only way you're going to stay dry. Other than that, you could freeze to death. Your lungs will seize up.
And they're coming and
stealing. Don't understand. Oh yeah. Oh no, propane tanks and shit.
No.
I was taught to live out there like wolfing and popping
propane tanks from people that could be keeping people alive.
Right. Wolfing and popping out of fires without the propane tank because of the fumes. You know what I mean?
Oh,
the fumes. Or as soon as you turn on a propane or butane, anything like that,
right?
It lets out gas. The fumes would kill me. Like I don't go around certain shit. Like I don't spray certain things in my house, like pine tar and shit like that, bleach. The fumes from gas or butane or anything like that could really kill me. There was a being in this building that emanated a certain scent from his person, from his room, from who knows what, but it would take up the whole hallway, right? And as soon as I get off the elevator, I could be breathing just normal casual breathing. It would stop me in the middle of the fucking hallway. And I would feel like I'm gonna throw up and pass out all at the same time. And I would be feeling the wall to get over here. Just from my place when I was downstairs. It was that bad. And I would come in here and take me like 15 minutes of like
that's that. Interesting about the smells, like the fumes. Right. I've never thought about.
Wolf and like 5 other people, and amongst everybody and their mother, and it was out there for real, know how to start fires or keep warm with just simple things like candle wax or Vaseline or whatever. Man, there's times we down and burned up all our clothes just to stay warm. The only thing we had was what was left on our body. You know what I mean? There's times we'll burn fucking whatever we find in the trash to stay warm. There's a whole bunch of different things, but it was the fumes from the because sometimes you got to use gas for generators. There's generators out there. All that shit would be so much, and there'd be so much. It would just be bad that it would kill me. And they're like, we'll one of the people that really ensured that I really wanted to say that I had to survive out there. You know what I mean? So you always tell you I have purpose, whatever. But what it was is it taught me how to live because I couldn't do what everybody else was doing. He had to help me. He had to help me function. Him and like 5 other people that are religiously still out there, like Van, right? You know Van, right?
I don't do I know Van?
Van is in the wheelchair, the only white man in the first part of the video of the movie.
Oh yes,
First part of the movie, the video. Yeah, Van. Well,
Oh
that's
wait,
what I
and
call
he
him.
has an I gave him an I am a human sign one time.
Yeah. He's been amputated on, right?
He's really cool.
He wasn't always like that because that was my brother that used to take me on adventures in the wheelchair in his skateboard, okay? So I know that he wasn't always like that. He wasn't always like that. And I know that he's been hacked at for the last couple of years, right? And he wasn't always like that. And now, like, he don't even know what to do with himself. Like, he don't even think he don't even want to go in. Because I tried to talk to him about it. And I was like, I'll help you guys. Come on, I'll help you. And he don't even want to go in. Because he's afraid that if he goes in, he'll fail. Because that's what these programs do. They're failing. So, yeah, he don't want to go in. Like, a good 60 people don't want to go in because they've watched failure happen day after day. And some people just can't behave themselves, so they ruin it on their own. But there's other people that actually try to do the work, and they still can't fucking succeed in their programs. Yeah, but
Well, it's like what the thing is, it should be no strings attached.
Yeah.
We gotta pick this up on another time because.
Okay, I love you. Y'all are amazing humans, and let's meet this week, okay?
Yes.
Okay, no doubt.
Thank you, David.
Thank you for coming on, Chester, David.
Yes, thank you.
Love y'all.
Great something when you come back on, man, because these chats are fucking informative.
I know. They're fucking great. I love y'all.
Send me a link to where I can where we can send this to everybody.
Okay, yes, I will. I'll send you in the chat
I
messenger.
sent that thing about Candy as well.
Oh yeah. Anyway, did y'all get all the things in the Dave said he sent the thing about Candy. The Dino from the Dino Vidala show. Y'all should definitely listen to it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of other links in there. Yeah, like I think we're looking at them right now.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Well, so
Bye,
we'll make
y'all.
arrangements. Well, I'll be in touch. We'll be in touch.
Okay, night. See ya.
Thank you. Yeah.
Peace.
Bye. Okay, thank you, family.
Thank y'all for tuning in to a special edition of the Frontline Black News.
Yeah.
I'm about to get some shut eye. It's like 2 in the morning right now. So thank y'all for tuning in. We'll be back with a new show on Saturday, and look out for the Revolutionary Agenda on Thursday.
Yeah. Oh, and Chewbacca's Black Experience
on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time.
Yep.
Peace, love, and Black empowerment.
Peace. One time.